Aztecs are going to the NCAA championship game.
Today's broadcast is sponsored by Windmill Farms, the college area's natural grocer. Now live from Mountain West Media Day, here's Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Staples Stores. D-backs, they completed the sweep last night over the Doyers, winning 4-2. They now move on to the NLCS for the first time since 2007 to face either the Phillies or the Braves. Game 4 between the Phillies and the Braves. First pitch, 5 p.m. tonight. Phillies looking to close out the Braves and move on to the NLCS. The ALCS is already set with the Rangers facing off against the Astros. That will get underway this weekend. The Aztecs, they were picked to finish first in the Mountain West Conference Media Day preseason poll. And tonight is the start of week 6 of the NFL as the Chiefs take on the Broncos. Travis Kelce was questionable to play. It looks like he will play tonight because, of course, Taylor Swift will be in attendance again. Sorry, Brent. $10 says your local Staples now accepts Amazon returns. Now, when you return on an Amazon order at Staples, you receive a coupon for $10 off your next Staples purchase or $30 or more. Exclusions do apply. Staples, your new favorite place for Amazon returns.
San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? It is hour 1 of Jon and Jim. We are live from Mountain West Media Day here in Vegas. Everything you need to know, we've got you covered for the next 3 hours. You're going to hear from Brian Dutcher, San Diego State's head coach, at 4 p.m. this afternoon from Resorts World. Darion Trammell, who played that key role for the Aztecs in the NCAA tournament, specifically in the South Regional in Louisville against Alabama and Creighton. He'll join us coming up at 4:30. Lamont Butler, right? Final Four hero, Lamont Butler. He'll stop by at 5:30. Mark Zeigler is covering this event as well. He's going to join us at 3:30. So Jon and Jim with you here from Vegas for the next 3 hours. We've been here since last night, Jim. Talked about the fusion, had the sushi, stayed in the same room together. We've been here throughout the course of the day conducting some interviews, and we're ready to rock and roll from Vegas today.
I'm still full from
seriously
the all-you-can-eat sushi. We went a little hard. I know it wasn't like crazy, but I counted. I probably had like around 20 pieces of sushi last night.
Which is for you. You're like
for me,
that's
a
5-piece sushi guy.
I'm like a roll, and a roll is usually around 8. like 8 pieces, 8 to 10.
Right.
And we just kept pounding the nigiri, and it's just because it was so good. Going to an all-you-can-eat place, I feel like sometimes could be maybe like a hit and miss, just because, hey, it's all you can eat. They're not going to give you the best of the best. I don't know. This place the sushi here was pretty damn good for an all-you-can-eat.
So how big was a roll?
Well, each roll, just a piece of sushi, but some are larger than others.
But I don't eat it. That's why I don't know how big a normal piece is.
Big. I mean, Brent, honestly,
like an egg roll size or smaller?
Smaller
Than an egg roll.
Sushi, Brent, you could eat about 80 pieces.
Oh, okay.
You would pound.
You would eat about 50 pieces.
The nigiri was small. It wasn't like a regular size. The fish was a regular size, but the rice wasn't. But a regular roll that you got was a normal size, like 8 pieces. And so we had that. We had edamame. Dude.
Here's the thing.
Gosh.
Here's what we were asking. We put a poll on Twitter last night because I didn't even know if it was a good idea or not.
Yeah.
It was a good idea to eat all-you-can-eat sushi at some point, but to do it at midnight when you're planning to go to sleep an hour later was probably a little aggressive.
I'm still full. Dude.
Now, we made it through it, right?
I know.
We've made it through. We've gotten here to Media Day. We have you covered again. We're getting you ready for San Diego State basketball on San Diego Sports 760 this November. So in addition to that, we're at Resorts World here in Las Vegas. Again, Mark Zeigler will join us coming up in about 20 minutes. You'll hear from Brian Dutcher at 4 p.m. Listen, I mean, we were watching. We were on the plane last night, and when we took off, the Dodgers were trailing the Diamondbacks 4-0, and then it was 4-1 and 4-2. And I was literally refreshing on the Spirit flight, and I was able to pick up reception like at 10,000 feet.
Yeah.
And I showed my phone to Jim. I'm like, final. 4-2 final. And we both looked at each other like, are you serious? I mean, this is unbelievable. And then it just began from the Dodgers tweet. Thank you, fans. For what?
What do you think?
Why are you thanking us for anything? From that to just the offseason beginning for the Dodgers again with that bitter taste in their mouth that we were just doing the research on it. It's like they've been in the postseason for the better part of the last 2 decades. And what they have to show for it is a 2020 season that, if you want to complain about a format, all I hear from Dodger fans today is, well, the format, the media. If you want to complain about a format, how about 2020 when you played 60 games, had 16 teams in the postseason, and had neutral site games?
Yeah, we were talking about before we got on air. Colin was throwing out this morning excuse after excuse for the Dodgers. Give me a effing break, bro. This team, there's no excuses. Everybody thinks that I'm tough on the Padres. If I was in LA and I was covering the Dodgers, which I never would because I never would want to cover the Dodgers. I hate that franchise. There's no excuses here. There is none. You have one of the highest payrolls year in and year out. You have won 100+ games 4 of the last 5 years, and the only year you didn't win 100 games was in that stupid COVID season. You've won 100 games 5 out of the last 7 years. You've been in the postseason 13 times since 2007. You've been in the postseason 10 straight years. There's no excuses here. This team's fraud. They're a bunch of frauds. They choke every single postseason. That's who they are. We talk about the culture with the team, right? The culture of the LA Dodgers is rooted in failure in the postseason. It is rooted in choking. It is rooted in being absolute frauds when the lights are the brightest. And I don't know about you Padres fans, but man, last night was fun.
Yeah, the idea. Here's the thing. It's like, was the Padres season disappointing? Yeah, if you listened to us for the last 7 months, you better believe it was disappointing.
Breaking news.
But the Dodgers season was also disappointing. Would you prefer to be in the postseason? Yeah, well, obviously. But you're not talking about back-to-back seasons with 100 wins where you're not making it out of your first playoff round. Their last playoff win was Game 1 against the Padres last year. The Padres won that series and went on to the National League Championship Series. I don't know how you can spin it.
No.
And I don't want to hear about the format. All the teams deal with the same format. And I don't want to hear about, well, the media put too much pressure on us. They got beat fair and square. And yes, I agree that the regular season has value, but you know what I've said, Jim, for the last 3 years. As the format changes, it's taking away value and importance from the regular season. Don't get me wrong. You got to get in.
No.
That's on the Padres that they didn't do that. That's solely on A.J. Preller and the front office and the players and the coaching staff. They didn't get in. That's obviously on the Padres. I'm not making an excuse there, but The regular season, you can win divisions, you can win 100 games. You're going to be judged. Nobody in LA is saying, well, you know what? Yeah, we lost, but we won 100 games. You have to win in the postseason for it to be meaningful, and they weren't able to do it again.
Sorry, Dodger fans. There are no excuses for you ever again. They're just – that's how that franchise is. And I saw so many stupid excuses for this team. Well, the pitching wasn't good. Well, the best players didn't get hits. Yada. That's the whole.
Well, that's the point. It's baseball.
It's professional sports. It's baseball. If you don't get it done, then you're going to get criticized for it. And especially when you give yourself a standard, like I hope the Padres, have continue to have for the foreseeable future.
Mm-hmm.
Is what's the standard in the expectations of the Dodgers is to win a World Series. When you don't get it done, it's a failure. And it's disappointing. No excuses. None. All right? I don't want to hear any of it. You guys lost, and you are embarrassed again. It's so funny to see the goalposts move from people for different reasons for different teams. Like, why does that always happen? The goalpost stays the same. That's the championship. You're not moving it for anybody, especially the Dodgers.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, the Orioles general manager today said, point at me for the blame with this franchise based on our inability to come through here in the postseason. The lowly Orioles, who hadn't won anything in forever, and the GM is taking accountability for this team that won 100 games because they didn't win
refreshing.
In the postseason. You're right, and it is refreshing. And I don't know what to say about it other than the fact that, again, when you look at
funny.
It is funny. And I will say this because I don't know if Peter Seidler goes as far with expectations. Excuse me. I don't know if AJ Preller goes as far with expectations as Peter Seidler, because Preller has repeatedly said, hey, we want to live up to these expectations of being a playoff caliber team every year and getting in.
Yeah.
But I hear Peter Seidler say, hey, the decade of the 2020s is going to be the San Diego Padres. And I'm envisioning World Series routes, and I want to win a World Series for the city of San Diego. But I'm with you. I think it's a failure for the Dodgers this year. It's a failure for the Padres this year, and they can both hang out in Cancun until next March when they play in Korea, March 20th.
The Dodgers are going to spend $1 billion this
That's
offseason.
the concern. That's the one concern, and maybe they would have either way, but that's the real concern. They lose like this again, they're going to be spending to overcome it, right?
Well, I would think so. I mean, they didn't spend last offseason, and it's gearing up for this offseason. You're just scared that they're going to go out and get Ohtani and like Blake Snell and whoever else out there they can get, because they need a lot of help next year with the rotation. Kershaw, cooked. Urias, done. Bueller coming off of 2 years of not pitching. Dustin May coming off of Tommy John. He's not going to be able to pitch as many innings as they would want him to pitch. Dude, the Dodgers have a lot of questions, but you know what? It's the Dodgers, and
right.
They're going to always be there. But it's just look, Padres fans, I think, as bad as this season was, to have every single night seemingly be a disappointment, to have last night be the kind of like that felt good. At least you get some feeling out of watching the Dodgers misery. Doesn't take away from the fact that you should also be upset about how the Padres season panned out.
Sure.
But it is nice to see, hey, you guys are embarrassing yourselves again in the postseason, and you guys got swept by the
Arizona Diamondbacks.
I mean, they didn't even put up a fight in this series.
Well, they didn't lead for a half inning.
No, they didn't.
Were they even tied for a half inning? I mean, they trailed so often.
Well,
they were tied until the third inning until Arizona.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing I'm going to say. Here's the thing I'm going to say. I have to say this. And by the way, I hate to do it, but we have to get back to Bryce Harper. Because you just have to do it. But listen, you can't say before a game, like Dave Roberts said before game 2, that we're treating game 2 like it's game 7. And you can't say we're treating game 3 like it's game 7 and leave your starting pitcher in to allow a 4th home run in an inning. And I don't care if it's the first inning with nobody out. You don't get a 4th batter if 3 batters in the inning have homered. That's simple. And, of course, he's going to be ridiculed for that. And I do wonder what the future is. We wondered about Bob Melvin's future off this year.
I hope he stays.
He's back.
Please stay.
But I do wonder.
Stay, Dave Roberts.
I do wonder. He's under contract through 2025. They extended him off last year with the disappointment against the Padres. you have to wonder, right? Like, is Dave Roberts long for the Dodgers?
I hope he stays.
But yes, exactly, because they failed to come through in the clutch.
It's one player that's not failing to come through in the clutch.
Is Bryce Harper.
Oh
So here's the thing, and we've made all these Harper Machado comps, and how can you not? Because they're both stars in their prime that have not yet won a World Series, that are both being paid handsomely, that are both future Hall of Famers, that are both going to be judged on, are they able to help a team win a World Series or not? I mean, that's going to be a big storyline for both Bryce Harper and for Manny Machado. And under the brightest of lights, Manny Machado has not produced like Bryce Harper. And that is fair, and it's only furthered day in and day out, especially after last night in Philadelphia. Harper homers twice. He's staring down Orlando Arcia, and the Phillies are a win away from another National League Championship Series.
So with Bryce Harper, there's two storylines from last night, and we'll get into the other storyline later in the show. But the first one that happened on the field before what Bryce Harper talked about wanting to play for Philly and how he loves the town. This Orlando Arcia situation is one, hilarious, and two, pretty sad. And why I say sad is what you're hearing from the Braves and other baseball players around Major League Baseball. So if you don't know what we're talking about, when Bryce Harper got doubled off in Game 2 to end Game 2, in the Braves clubhouse, Orlando Arcia, who is their shortstop, second baseman? I think he's shortstop because Albies his second baseman.
Yeah, he's their shortstop.
And he was heard in the clubhouse saying, like, haha, thanks, Bryce, for doing that. Like, attaboy, Bryce. And this is when the media was in the clubhouse. And he was openly saying these things out loud while media members were around.
Right.
Well, that got out.
Shocker. Yeah, surprise, because there's media members in the clubhouse.
And that also got to the Phillies. And that is the reason why Bryce and Castellanos were wearing the
It's personal
Colorado gear the other day, because the message was it's personal. And then Bryce goes out and has a legendary game, and he stares down Arcia not once, but twice, rounding second base.
Right. 2 home runs yesterday.
And this is what Bryce Harper said after the game yesterday about him, staring down Arcia after those 2 home runs.
Was there any motivation?
I mean, anytime anybody says something, right? I mean, that's what it's all about.
Did you enjoy staring him down?
Yeah, I mean, I stared right at him.
Like, I love that. I just straight to the point. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna pussyfoot around. I'm not gonna try to talk my way around this. Like, I straight up heard what he said, and I stared right in his face.
You know what I like about it, dude? I like players and teams that lean into it, that use it. Like, all great players need to have chips on their shoulders at all times. Remember this year when the Padres, was it the lowly Pirates that hit Machado in San Diego in July or August?
It was also,
and the Padres didn't retaliate?
The Padres got brushed back and hit so many times.
No, but there was a specific example. When the Pirates were embarrassing the Padres, winning for like a 6th time in 7 games, they hit Manny Machado, and the Padres didn't do a darn thing about it.
Yeah.
Didn't make it personal.
Yeah, no, they didn't.
Didn't have any level of retribution. I'm not saying go hit someone in the head,
no.
But to have, they just didn't play, back to the point about urgency. Yeah. They were a team that lacked urgency. They never made anything personal. I'm not saying you have to make all things about slights and edges, but it works. Yeah. There's a reason why teams and players and coaches do it, right? To add fuel and to add motivation. And it played right into the Phillies' hands. Whether they needed it or not, they used it to their motivation. Now the Braves are crying about it.
Then you get Travis d'Arnaud. This guy. He was asked about the Arcia thing after a 10-2 loss. And all we're hearing out of the Braves clubhouse now is stuff like this from Travis d'Arnaud.
The clubhouse is a sanctuary, and I think when things like that get out, it doesn't make people want to talk to the media at all. It affects the people who have been great to us all year, and it is what it is.
What I think of after hearing that is maybe a lot of teams, PR people, should explain to players how reporting in the media works. Like, this is not something that when you go into a clubhouse, like, hey, by the way, you can't report on anything you hear around the clubhouse, only report on who you talk to. There's none of that. Players should know that the media members are around and not say anything if they're not talking directly to the media. Mm-hmm. That's kind of like, I don't know, if someone came into our work and was talking to us and we were like, yeah, this person sucks, and then that person went out and said it, it's like, well, the guy was standing right there. What do you expect?
Guys, the clubhouse is a sanctuary when the media isn't in it.
I know.
It's only open to the media for an hour before a game roughly and 10 minutes after the final pitch of any game for another 20 minutes. It's open for an hour and 20 minutes. It's closed for 22 hours and 40 minutes. It's not a sanctuary when you let others in. Everyone understands that. I mean, how do you not understand that? How could you possibly think you can just say whatever and it's not going to be potentially used against you by the media if they witness it? How is that possible?
It's honestly pretty sad to hear that. And it's like, if a reporter was in the clubhouse and they overheard someone say something that's, I don't know, like, oh, I did this to this person, where's that reporter just be like, oh, well, I didn't talk to him directly, so I shouldn't report on that? I mean, that's a joke. When the media members are in there, the players, everybody knows, like, they're just not, they're half the time when you go in there, the players aren't even in the clubhouse. They're like off in the workout room or the dining room area, because they know that if they are around the media and they say whatever, that's probably going to get out. So they go to places where the media is not, so they can say whatever they want to say. When you hear stuff like that, that just tells me how soft you are and how you're trying to use this as an excuse. You just got your ass kicked 10-2. Maybe talk about that instead of something that was heard in a clubhouse that happened to get out.
Yeah, you didn't lose because of that.
No.
If you think that's the reason you lost, then you've already beaten yourself. That's not the reason why the Braves lost. But now the Phillies again on the doorstep of getting back to a National League Championship Series. Dodgers out, Padres out, and we'll see what
Media's
2024 has in store. I mean, it's going to be a really interesting offseason. It is going to be a fascinating offseason to watch this play out locally in San Diego. What are the Padres going to do? Is the payroll going down or not? And what on earth are the Dodgers going to do after failing to come through again after a good regular season? All right, we're at Resorts World in Las Vegas. On the other side, there's so much to get to. Brian Dutcher will swing by. Lamont Butler, Final Four hero. Darion Trammell. We'll catch up with the Mountain West Commissioner, Gloria Nevarez. But up next, Mark Zeigler covers. We're getting ready for the upcoming season. Mark Zeigler from the UT. He'll join us on the other side. Stay with us on Jon and Jim.
Thanks, JD, for the super chat.
Thanks, man.
He says, whose 2023 faceplant was worse, Padres or Dodgers?
Good question.
Man, that's a great question.
It's a really good question.
Man.
It could be the Padres. It could be the Dodgers.
I want to say the Padres, but I think I got to go with the Dodgers. Right? I'm going with the Dodgers for this. The Padres was such a slow death that it just was a slow death. The Dodgers was quick and very unexpected. I don't think anybody thought they were going to lose to the D-backs. They get swept. No. So I would say they both face planted, but I would say the Dodgers face plant was worse.
The problem
because it was on a higher scale.
But the Padres was so drawn out. I mean, it was kind of embarrassing to play like that all year.
Yeah.
but for the Dodgers, kind of similar embarrassment at the end of the year. So both. I mean, both. Both are face plants. Yeah. Neither's better than the other at the end of the day, really. Yeah. What's going on, Coach? How are you?
Thanks, JD.
Thanks, JD. Appreciate it, man.
ER Folk, why are you here? Leave. If you don't care, if you don't want to talk sports, leave.
Wait, no, I want to stay up here. Yeah, here's my question. What point are you trying to make that we only talk San Diego sports?
Like, no shit, buddy. We are a San Diego sports station. We're not going to talk Padres every stupid day.
But I think that's what's
every
point
segment
is he trying to make? Please reply.
I don't know.
I can't wait to hear it.
Jon and Jim talk San Diego sports, but there isn't much to say.
Well, yeah, it's not. What do you want me to do?
What do you want?
I've talked to Dean Spanos. He's going to sell the team, and the Chargers are moving back here. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow. I wasn't supposed to say it yet, but I wanted to let you guys know first.
Oh, man. Clown.
All right, Mark Zeigler from the Union Tribune here in Vegas for Mountain West Media Day. He'll get us ready for the upcoming season. He'll join us next.
We're headed back out to Mountain West Media Day in Vegas, setting the stage for San Diego State Aztecs basketball. Our coverage is sponsored by Windmill Farms, the college area's natural grocer. Now back to Mountain West Media Day with Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Staples Stores. We'll start in baseball playoffs. D-backs, they completed the sweep of the Dodgers last night with a 4-2 win. They're now moving on to the NLCS for the first time since 2007 to face either the Phillies or the Braves. Game 4, Phillies-Braves. First pitch, 5 p.m. tonight. Phillies looking to close out the Braves and move on to the NLCS as they have a 2-1 series lead there. The ALCS is set with the Rangers taking on the Astros. Moving over to the Aztecs. They were picked today to finish in first place in the Mountain West Conference preseason poll. And tonight is the start of Week 6 in the NFL as the Chiefs take on the Broncos. Travis Kelce was questionable for the game. He's expected to play with his ankle sprain, of course, because, Taylor Swift will be in attendance. At Staples, you can count on every print project being perfect, and now get $50 off your print order of $150 or more. Offer ends 10/14. Exclusions and restrictions do apply. See an associate or visit staples.com/print for details. Perfect prints guaranteed at Staples.
All right, back here live from Resorts World in Las Vegas, Mountain West Media Day, as we are just about less than 4 weeks out now from the opener for the Aztecs, Monday, November 6th. Jon and Jim with you. Great to catch up with Mark Zeigler. Of course, covers the beat for the Aztecs, is here in Vegas for the UT, and there's a lot, Mark, to get into. And I was just thinking about this. Like what San Diego State did a year ago and the run they go on, it's so unpredictable, and that's the beauty of the sport and what makes the sport challenging as well. You could wait 5, 10, 15, forever years to go on a run like that. What's in store for them this year? You know, the expectations from the fan base, as you and I know, are, oh, well, they were in the national championship game. They're going to just run through everyone, non-conference and conference. They're going to do it. I mean, this is a serious task that San Diego State is about to set forth on, right?
Yeah, you know, I was thinking about the same thing too when so the WCC obviously is here as well at Media Day, and in the afternoon they had their interviews. They put out their poll. Well, St. Mary's was picked ahead of Gonzaga.
Right.
St. Mary's is good, really good. And listening to them talk about their team and Randy Bennett talk about how much he loves his team, how veteran they are, how many guys they got coming back. And then you go and you listen to Gonzaga talk about, well, they've got Graham Ike. Yeah. And, you know, he might not even start. I mean, they're good. I mean, he's been a little banged up, but they got Ryan Nembhard, who played for Creighton the last 2 years, and a bunch of guys they had coming back. They're going to be really good. And you think, well, San Diego State's playing both those teams. And you just start looking at this, and yeah, it's a whole different world for them. And I think a little bit of that reality hit them today when just from the line of questioning. You know, they're being questioned as NCAA, you know, finalists, not as just some team for the Mountain West. And so there is going to be a lot of pressure. That said, they're used to it. They're used to having the target of their back in this conference. I just think it's going to be a little bit of a bigger target this year than it has been in the past.
And do you think that this team compares to last year, or do you think that this team is a step down from last year?
Well, it's hard to know because, I mean, who would have thought at the beginning of last year that team would have been in the national championship?
Right, yeah.
So you never know in college basketball. I think the way I've learned to look at it is the idea is to put as many good teams out there as you can. And we've talked about this before, and keep knocking on that NCAA door, and eventually you'll break through. And that happened last year. They've had, you know, I've been on record as saying, I think that was their 4th best team in school history. It was not their best team. They had their best result, but there were 3 other really, really good teams that didn't go as far. One that never got to play in the tournament. And so, it's hard to say that this team is better, worse, different. I mean, we know that it's different, and that's what I will say. It's very different. In talking with, you know, I asked some of the players, who on the San Diego State roster that is gone are you happiest not to see anymore? And without hesitation, everybody said Nathan Mensah. Because they just changes the defense, changed what they can do. I asked, you know, Leon Rice that, and he said, look, it doesn't mean they're not going to be good. It just, he is so elite. He was talking about a time in the game when late in the game when he switched on to Max Rice, his son. And he said, I almost called a timeout because I'm like, don't even try. He's so good defensively. We're not going to get anything out of this. But that's just who they are now. They don't have him, and they're going to have to be a different team. And so I think fans are going to have this very high expectation, but they have to understand it's a different group, different pieces, and they're going to be put together differently.
Like, Mark, think about this. Mark Zeigler from the UT, and you're right. They're going to look different on offense. They could be a better offensive team. It could take time for their defense. If you think about even last year, defensively, I don't think they became elite until the second half of the year. But then you go to the NCAA tournament. Think about the elite centers they played and had Nathan. Charles Bediako, Ryan Kalkbrenner, Klingon off the bench, Sonogo starting. I mean, that's an incredible run of centers. Now, they're not necessarily going to see that in the regular season. And in the tournament, you don't know what you're going to necessarily get matchup-wise. But look at that. What do you think it's going to look like at the 5, by and large, for Brian Dutcher to start the year?
Well, I think they're going to – my guess, and I have no inside knowledge on this, but my guess is, you know, we could see a lot of four guards. I'm putting air quotes around the guards, because is Micah Parrish really a guard at 6'6"? You know, Reese Waters is technically a guard, but he's a big guard. But 2 big guards and then 2 small guards with a big man who is on offense is going to play out in the perimeter. I mean, I watched their first scrimmage, and Jaden Ledee took 2 trail threes, and played as much on the perimeter as he did inside. I think that's what they'll start the season. But when they go up against some bigs, it's going to be really interesting. They're going to have to lean on Miles Heide off the bench. I think DeMarsha Johnson will get a shot early in the season, see if he can do it. He hasn't played at all, and he doesn't have experience, nor does Miles Heide. That's a big ask for inexperienced guys to throw them out there against veteran centers. And so they're gonna face that more in the preseason and the non-conference they are in the Mountain West. The Mountain West is, I'm just looking at, so guard heavy. I mean, the all-conference team they released today, 4 guards and a forward who plays in the perimeter. The newcomer of the year, guard. The freshman of the year, guard. And so I think they'll be able to match up with those teams a lot easier. And so, like you said, it could be a false sense of security. They get to the tournament and they play a giant team that has 2 bigs, and now what do you do? And so it's going to test the creativity and the intuition and the innovation of this coaching staff. But it's a veteran coaching staff; they're used to that.
Could you see Reese Waters later in the year being like a go-to guy on offense for this team?
Yeah, and I've seen him start to get more confident in practices, step up and take contested shots, hard shots, and start to feel like he's the guy. You know, I asked Lamont Butler about that today. Last year, obviously, when they got into late shot clock situations or they late game, they needed a basket or their team's on a run, they go to Matt Bradley just sort of by default. And that involved sort of getting him in an ISO position, clearing the floor, spacing the floor, and then letting him go to work and kind of standing around a little bit while he dribbled and looked for an opening. And sometimes he passed, sometimes he shot. He made good decisions. This year, obviously, the ball will be in Lamont Butler's hands a lot more. But he said, he goes, look, we're going to have 4 or 5 options out there on offense. They can do it. We might go later into the shot clock, just running our offense because we have so many options. So Reese Waters is certainly one of those guys. But I think, you know, J Powell could be one of those guys. He can create a shot. Darion Trammell showed that he could do it last year. Jane Ledee can do it. You know, Miles Bird can do it. So they're going to have a lot of options, and that's going to be, like you mentioned, second half of the year. Yeah, it could be Reese Waters, but it could be like 3 or 4 other guys, and they're going to have a feeling out period before they get into a rhythm of who gets the ball when.
Mark Zeigler from the UT with us right now. Jon and Jim, Resorts World in Las Vegas, Mountain West Media Day. You know, I'm thinking about this, looking at some of these players and these rosters and these teams, and I'm thinking to myself, how did the Mountain West get to this spot where it's a really strong, complete league, right? Even the bottom of the league the last 2 years has been pushed up incredibly in the metrics. You've had 4 teams overall each of the last 2 years, so 3 at-large teams. You've had a team now make a run. They were waiting on that, and it was San Diego State to finally do it. How do you feel about where the league is, and how have they managed? It's one thing to have one good team, Gonzaga, consistently, even St. Mary's. How have they done it where they've had 3 or 4 good teams now?
Yeah, that shows the depth, and it's much more of a league that has many good teams. I mean, you know, in the past it was 3 programs. It was UNLV, New Mexico, San Diego State. They had the best resources. They had the best history, the best teams, best talent. But now you see a Nevada popping up. You see Boise State. Utah State's been really good. Now they lost everybody. Who knows how they're going to be this year, but it won't be long before they're back up. And so you have a lot of those programs. Now you have 6 programs that are really good. And, you know, Fresno State was good a few years ago and went to the tournament. And so San Jose State, you know, had been a perennial doormat. And they came up and were really good last year. So, you know, Air Force is going to be more veteran than they have been. You know, Wyoming was really good. They went to the tournament recently. So you have a lot of that in this conference. And what's going to be interesting for me with San Diego State is, do they do like Gonzaga did in the WCC and separate themselves? They're in a, you know, they think their conference is good, but they're clearly a notch above. Or are they just one of several really good teams in the conference, and every year they're fighting it out? And that's going to be, you know, we won't know that answer for a few years. Now they have this certain NCAA tournament pedigree, but it's going to be a tough league this year. And like I said, the one good thing is nobody's really that big. So there's not going to be one matchup that San Diego State's going to go, oh boy, this is going to be tough. We're going to have to adjust. They're going to be able to handle everybody. And so, but we'll see. You know, they're going to, every night is going to be a battle. Every road game is going to be just a scrap because of what they did last year.
Well, I mean, you want that. If you're an Aztecs fan, you want that, you know, bullseye on your back, because that means that you are one of the best teams in the conference and one of the best teams, you know, potentially out there. And you want to have that pressure and you want to have that expectation. Mark, moving over real quick here before I let you go. Oregon State, Washington, do you see any resolution, anything new on that front? And maybe, you know, how could it possibly West? We're talking to Gloria next year about that. things new there.
I talked to her for a little bit today. She doesn't obviously have a lot of answers because they're not the one making the decision. It's going to be Oregon State, Washington State. Yeah. They first have to solve this litigation with the other 10 schools of the Pac-12 about who controls what. And it's basically a fight over money.
Yeah.
And they want to, the 10 want to split everything 12 ways and everyone go their separate ways. And Oregon State, Washington State want to keep some shell of the Pac-2 together so they can control all those assets. And I think there's not going to be any quick answer. We've been accustomed to very quick answers over the summer in the conference realignment. Things happen overnight, within minutes. This team might leave. All of a sudden, they're gone. Yeah. This is not going to be that, and people have to understand that this is going to drag on. It's in the courts, and there's no reason for those 10 schools to hasten this process. It's to their advantage to drag this thing out and put Oregon State and Washington State in limbo. And so I think that's what we're going to see. And I don't think the next court date where there might be some movement is November 14th, and then the next one will be after the holidays. So the interesting thing is, I think the further we go, the more we're going to see the Mountain West play as the Mountain West next year. But the one thing we could see is some sort of bridge. That's the word I keep hearing, where Oregon State and Washington State are allowed to schedule with the Mountain West schools, get them that year where they're independent, and get them games and help them out. So I think that's something you might see. But for these leagues to merge, the leagues one or the other, it's just starting to get later and later and later in the process.
Interesting. So Oregon State and Washington State have had so much success here recently in football, which is the flag for conference realignment. But from a men's basketball perspective, the addition of Oregon State and Washington State will not necessarily be good for the Beavers and the Cougars, and not necessarily good for the league, at least when they come into the league, if that ultimately
I don't
happens.
think either of those teams would be in the top 6 in this league. I mean, I really don't. When you look at they're not better than San Diego State, Boise State, New Mexico. Those are clearly the top 3, and then the next 3 are Colorado State, UNLV, who I think could be really good if they get one of their players gets a waiver, and Nevada. I mean, I'm not sure they're better than any of those teams. Now you're starting at 7th, and are you better than a Fresno State? I don't know. I don't think they are. And so, I mean, they're going to, in football, they will have their way with this league. Basketball is going to be a different story. And that tells you, one thing about the Mountain West is I think a lot of people look at this league. They need to understand this is a basketball league. And I know football pays the bills. I know football drives conference realignment, but this is a basketball league. Yeah. And this is what it is. And San Diego State showed it last April. And this league's going to continue to show it, through this season.
Mark, always appreciate it. Yeah. Great perspective. Thanks for doing it. We'll do it again back in San Diego.
All right. My pleasure.
All right. Mark Zeigler from the Union Tribune. You mentioned Gloria Nevarez, commissioner of the Mountain West. We caught up with her just earlier. You're going to hear that conversation on the other side. We're at Resorts World Mountain West Media Day. Brian Dutcher in about 15 minutes as well. Don't go anywhere. It's Jon and Jim. Hey, guys, it's Schaefer, and I think I was telling you yesterday that I was over at Windmill Farms just last week, and I was meeting with their owner, Trevor. Just amazing to hear how Trevor and his family, they've been in the grocery business for decades, and they love supporting local. Right here in San Diego, he's telling me about Mr. G Salsa, based here in America's finest city, delivering and stocking their amazing salsa each and every day. You need to get over to Windmill Farms. Hey, guys, it is Schaefer. I've been telling you about them. They're the college area's natural grocer. They've got you covered for everything you need during your work week and for your game days as well on the weekend, whether you're watching the NFL or college football. They've got the organic farm fresh produce and meats. They have their amazing craft beer selection. They have a full deli with award-winning sandwiches. The great part about the deli is your 8th sandwich is free with the sandwich card. The other great part about the deli is they keep their prices unbelievably low, and they do it without sacrificing on the ingredients. So you need to check them out. They're located off Del Cerro Boulevard across the freeway from Montezuma Mesa. Windmill Farms is your family-owned market, as I was just telling you about. They've been serving San Diego for decades. You can visit windmillfarmsmarket.com. The reason to do it, you'll see their weekly specials. So again, windmillfarmsmarket.com, you will see their weekly specials. So make sure to check them out over there. Also, if you're not in the College area, you can go to Instacart and have your groceries delivered directly to your doorstep. And again, shop local, shop at Windmill Farms.
It's Mountain West Media Day out in Sin City. We look towards San Diego State Aztecs basketball. Our coverage is sponsored by Windmill Farms, the college area's natural grocer. Day with Jon and Jim.
All right, with you, Resorts World in Las Vegas until 6 o'clock. Brian Dutcher in about 15 minutes. You're going to hear from him. Darion Trammell in the 4 o'clock hour. Final Four hero Lamont Butler coming up at 5:30 as well. Just a few moments ago, we caught up with the commissioner of the Mountain West Conference, Gloria Nevarez. What a first year it has been for Gloria. I started the conversation by asking her what it was like for her in her first few weeks on the job to be experiencing San Diego State's Final Four run firsthand.
Well, one, you know how special a run like that. There's, a lot of preparation, a lot of hard work, a lot of talent, but no small amount of luck and good seeding and circumstances. So to be part of that and follow along, it was just so fun and special, and it couldn't happen to a better group of guys.
And the brand of San Diego State, basketball especially, coming off the national championship game, becoming, like a household name now. When you think San Diego State, you think national championship game with basketball. What is their brand meant to the Mountain West Conference?
Well, certainly getting, on that stage, and I thought their administration, J.D. Wicker, they did a great job of maximizing and then quantifying afterwards. He's really captured what that meant as far as ad dollars and brand pump. And then, as they went through the tournament, they talked about how regular season play really prepared them for this. And, that first round, they got sent pretty far away. And, that's a normal road trip in the Mountain West sometimes. So
they're prepared for it.
Yeah, there was a lot of great elevation of brand as they, made that journey.
And for you specifically in the Mountain West, what are your plans to make sure that you can maximize that brand of San Diego State to elevate them, is to try to make them, bigger than what they are now for the Mountain West Conference?
Well, at the conference office, we don't build facilities. We don't hire coaches. We don't have student athletes. But what we do is we're the megaphone. We amplify. So everything that's coming out of their campus, we try to give it legs, give it a more national profile, use our media partnerships to repeat, amplify the message and distribute. But also collectively as a brand, talk about how strong we are. Because we had 4 teams in last year, and I'm no doubt we should be somewhere in that range this year.
Yeah, each of the last 2 years, 4 teams in the NCAA tournament in men's basketball. Gloria Nevarez is the commissioner of the Mountain West Conference with us right now, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. What do you hear from your TV partners about the successes you're having right now in football and men's basketball? Because you look at men's basketball specifically, San Diego State, I think, is on CBS or Fox a combined 4 times. I thought the time slots really worked out really well last year for basketball. On FS1, CBS Sports Network, and elsewhere. What do you hear from your TV partners about the Mountain West?
Not only our TV partners appreciate the quality of play we bring and the window, but I hear it from my peers and other commissioners. Someone said to me, wow, you really just have a great little window right there. Like, you come home, you pop it on, and we always kind of right there in that on your set. So we're very thankful for the partnership and the positioning.
And, with the moving over to the football side, just the Snapdragon Stadium aspect of things here, is there talks of a potential, bowl game as far as, getting something in that stadium that might be a little permanent in the future that the Mountain West could brand and be a big part of?
First of all, that stadium is amazing. Yeah. I was at the UCLA game this year, and it was just such a beautiful day, great atmosphere, awesome flow and energy. But so the bowls are something we're working on consistently, largely because there's some unknowns about the CFP expanded playoff and what that ripple effect will mean, conference realignment. So it's a little bit up in the air right now, but we're constantly chatting with our partners, looking to best position the Mountain West with regard to bowl selection.
You mentioned it, so I'll bring it up. It's the topic that you are asked about every single time you do a media interview, conference realignment. Obviously, there's no earth-shattering or breaking news that you're going to be having for us here in San Diego, but when you think about it from a timeline when it comes to 2024 with programs like Oregon State and Washington State, do you feel like there'll be a resolution, whether it involves the Mountain West or not, with those programs at some point in the not so distant future, or what is the timeline?
Yeah, and those are, again, questions that I'm not in the room for and are outside of our control. But what I've read is that they have a court date, November 14th, I believe, and know that they have some things that they're working through. If COVID taught us anything, it's to be ready to pivot. So we're ready to take advantage of opportunity if it comes our way.
Do you feel as if the Mountain West is as well positioned as it could be to kind of take advantage of this opportunity? Whatever transpires, you feel as if the Mountain West is on the solid footing to take advantage of it, whatever occurs?
Certainly, and it has a lot to do with the success we're having on the field and on the courts, but also, we're doing the work behind the scenes to be ready and to model different scenarios so that we're ready to go if and when an opportunity presents itself.
Do you expect the Mountain West Conference tournament to remain in Vegas beyond 2024?
Well, I'm certainly biased. I love Las Vegas as a venue for all the basketball tournaments. And, I worked at Pac-12,
Right.
WCC, and have been a big part of kind of moving tournaments here, the growth of them. So I think what we have here is really, really special. So I do have an affinity to Las Vegas.
The Thomas and Mack, which has been very good to San Diego State, and like you said, has been a really good venue, I think, for the Mountain West. Obviously, that'll be there in 2024. Is it possible that the venue could change? Is that a priority piece, or does it really matter the venue for the league?
We have a one-year deal, largely because the previous deal expired, and they were in the middle of the search for my position, the commissioner. So they did a one-year bridge just to allow that hire a commissioner and give me a chance to reevaluate. I'll just be honest. We haven't got there yet.
Right. Sure.
We got stuff. We got stuff to do. But yeah, that's definitely a high priority to take a look at that agreement. And I need to dig in and figure out all the mechanics behind it.
Gloria Nevarez is with us right now, Commissioner of the Mountain West. There's been a lot of discussion from a media perspective, but I'm curious from a conference commissioner perspective, this promotion relegation concept, whether it relates to the Mountain West or college athletics in general. Is there merit to it? Is that a realistic path forward in the short term or medium term for college athletics or not?
Well, I love innovative ideas, and this one's definitely outside the box. I thought Tim Walsh at Boise State really is the first time I've seen someone go into such detail on the different iterations. But scheduling's not easy, as you know, and there are a lot of moving parts, and you really have to look at what your league is at, both numerically as well as strength, and then what you're trying to achieve, and then what model best fits that. So there are parts and pieces of hundreds of different models that you can craft together. So I wouldn't say it's not off the table. It interests me. I don't think it's something we pull off for 2024 in October, whatever today is. But it certainly is something to think about. I think it has some merit.
For the next TV deal for the Mountain West, what's your expectations for it? And do you feel like with the climate of college athletics and conference realignment and teams out there kind of maybe looking for homes, would you consider this probably the most important TV deal upcoming for this conference and maybe the history of the conference?
Yes, and I'm a little bit thankful. We have some years before it because, as we know, the market was struggling a little bit. A lot of TV money has been expended this most recent fiscal year. So very optimistic that ours is a couple years out. I think we're on an uptick as far as performance, both in football and basketball. And, we have a group of presidents and ADs who really, and you saw a statement out of our board a couple weeks ago about the alignment, the investment, the desire to continue to build the Mountain West. And you have to remember, we're only 25 years old.
Right, sure.
I mean, the Pac-12 was 108. So relative to our time on the scene, and we've had tremendous trajectory, growth, and success.
Final question for me, Commissioner, as you kind of touched on the Pac-12 and what the future of it is going to look like. Do you feel as if the Mountain West may be able to take advantage from a scheduling perspective with programs in the West, now having more travel and conference, whether it's the ACC, Big 10, Big 12, could that be beneficiary for Mountain West institutions to schedule home and homes in sports like football and men's basketball moving forward because it might eliminate some of the travel those programs are going to experience in league?
Certainly a thought that I've had as well, but scheduling's so unique to each coach and each institution depending on what they're trying to achieve in any season. And certainly with the large numbers of teams that some of these leagues have now, 14, 16, 18, does that cannibalize the number of non-conference availabilities they have, or do they get into divisions and you actually free up some non-conference inventory? So I think it's a lot of TBD depending on what happens in those root conference schedules.
Busy time of year. We got Mountain West football, obviously, about the halfway point. We've got basketball in less than 4 weeks, and we appreciate you taking some time for us in Vegas, Commissioner. Thank you.
Appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner of the Mountain West, Gloria Nevarez, Brian Dutcher, head coach of the Aztecs, after a break from Mountain West Media Day in Las Vegas, Nevada. Hour 2, Jon and Jim next.
All right, this update is brought to you by Staples Stores. Dodgers, they are eliminated. Once again, they will not win a World Series in a regular year as they got swept by the Arizona Diamondbacks last night, meaning the Diamondbacks are moving on to the NLCS for the first time since 2007. Braves and Phillies, game number 4. First pitch is about an hour from now from Philadelphia. If the Phillies win, they move on to the NLCS, take on the D-backs. ALCS is set. Rangers, they're going to face off against the Astros. That series will start this weekend in Houston. We're at Mountain West Media Day, and the Aztecs were picked to finish first in the Mountain West Conference Media preseason poll. And tonight, the start of Week 6 in the NFL, as the Chiefs take on the Broncos. Travis Kelce, he's questionable, but he's expected to start tonight for the Chiefs. At Staples, you can count on every print project being perfect. And now, get $50 off your print order of $150 or more. Offer ends 10/14. Exclusions and restrictions do apply. See an associate or visit staples.com/print for details. Perfect prints guaranteed at Staples.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? It is hour 2 of Jon and Jim from World in Las Vegas. We're in a moment. You're going to hear from Brian Dutcher. We caught up with him earlier this afternoon from Mountain West Media Day. He's getting his team ready. You'll hear from Darion Trammell, the hero in the Elite Eight against Creighton. He'll join us in about 30 minutes at 4:30. And Final Four hero against FAU, Lamont Butler. You'll hear from him coming up around 5:30 in the afternoon. Now, this event got underway very early this morning.
Yeah.
Now, Jim,
I didn't
with
get
the reputation,
this morning,
right?
no.
So, Jim, what's the saying? Like, your reputation precedes you.
Yeah.
You're not going to show up somewhere at 7:30 in the morning for breakfast if you don't have to be somewhere at 7:30 in the morning for breakfast, right?
So you went to breakfast with Dutch and
Well, no, I didn't. No, I didn't go. No, I just went to
Darion.
breakfast when the event started, and there
Richard.
were Brian Dutcher and Darion and Lamont and Richard Stern.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I had breakfast with them, and people wanted to know where you were, and I kind of laughed because I said, well, Jim's never been awake at 7 in the morning.
I've been awake at 7 in the morning, just
not by choice.
Not by choice.
So when I got up today, right, because we're in the same hotel room,
yeah,
I tried to be relatively quiet, and you didn't even move. I got up at like 7 in the morning.
I was out, dude.
I was doing things. I'm showering. I'm getting ready. You didn't. So then I actually texted Jim around, I think at 9:30. I'm like, yo, just FYI, you may have to start moving at some point because we're going to have some conversations with people that we may need to pre-record. And you're like, I'm awake.
I was awake.
I was shocked because it's so dark in there.
Yeah, it was very dark. I was worried. So when I woke up this morning, before I looked at my phone, I was like, it's either 5 a.m. or 10 a.m. I'm not sure.
Were you worried it was going to be even later than what would you? Worried. Yeah, but even if it was 10 a.m., you would have been okay, right? I would have obviously gotten you if you needed to be somewhere.
Yeah, I know you would have, but I was worried because I looked at my and I was still tired, and I looked at my phone, and it was like 8:45 in the morning. I was like, oh man.
Like that was too early?
You should have messed with him and set the clock in the hotel ahead by 3 hours, and then just text him like, dude, what are you doing?
Man. No. That would have first of all, that would have taken John way too much time and effort.
Way too much time.
2, John wouldn't know how to do anything. I mean, first of all, look, traveling with John, is your wife like, does she just automatically know when you travel together it's going to be an S show?
What part of this trip was an S show from your perspective?
Well, without me, you'd be like, where am I? Where am I going? What am I doing? How do I do this? Where do I do that? How do I get an Uber? How do I get here? Where are we at?
No, a little bit. Okay, a little bit.
Because everything that we did was what are we doing? How do we do this? I don't know how to do this. How do we get an Uber? What's happening right now?
Yeah, that's probably true. We compliment each other nicely because like I can like book the flight and you're like, I just send you the boarding pass.
Yeah.
But then when I don't know.
I got the street smarts is what is.
Do you, though?
Not really.
All right. So earlier on today, again, it's Mountain West Media Day here at Resorts World in Las Vegas. We caught up with Brian Dutcher. This is probably just about 30 or 40 minutes before the show started. Head coach of the Aztecs, getting his team ready for this upcoming season. And the first question, the way we started this conversation, was asking about what he's replacing. I mean, he's replacing so much, but he's added so much as well. And how does Dutch feel about this team heading into this year?
I like our talent level. We're talented again. But now it's the puzzle part that makes coaching so much fun and so challenging is try to put the right pieces out there together, define roles, build confidence, and all those things that have to happen before we open the season on November 6th.
Mm-hmm. What went into putting together this non-conference schedule? Because it's a tough one, but I also think that it's something that a lot of Aztecs fans have wanted to see, that go up against the best of the best before conference play year in and year out.
That's called a head coach that feels he has job security. The schedule's like that. So, no.
Well, I mean, coming off a national championship game,
yeah, I
think so.
Yeah. No, we always try to schedule hard. You know, I tell everybody when they get mad about the schedule, I tell them who we tried to call and play. And when they don't want to play, I can't make them play us. So some years it falls into place. And, you know, we've got a hard schedule. And just the environments in the place we're going. At BYU, there'll be 20,000 people in there. At Grand Canyon, if you haven't been there, it's a crazy environment. At Gonzaga. I mean, just go down that list. The places we're playing. How about UCSD this year? Our first trip across town to play the Tritons. That's going to be electric. So we are playing an electric schedule at Stanford, Cal, St. Mary's in a neutral, either Washington or Xavier. That's a hard schedule. And if we can be successful in it, we'll put ourselves to have a good seed and play in March again.
Do you feel like, as far as non-conference goes, there should be more expansion of, you know, possible teams that you could play, and especially with the whole entire college basketball realm? Like, you know, you're not just, you know, limited to playing these schools and these schools that everybody should play everybody type of mentality.
You know, with the Pac-12 now in the Big Ten and Big 12 and ACC, they're going to have harder schedules. So they may not want to load up on a San Diego State or Gonzaga in the non-conference just because of what's ahead of them. Mm-hmm. They may want to soften their schedules. So I don't know if all this expansion is going to help us get games or not.
Right.
Because, they're going to want to play regional games. They don't want to travel across the country all year.
Yeah.
But whether they're going to want to play us or a Gonzaga or a St. Mary's remains to be seen.
Right. So Brian Dutcher with us, of course, head coach of the Aztecs, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Like you've talked about this repeatedly. It's harder and harder to get home and homes just because of the climate of college basketball, expanded conference schedules. But to get Gonzaga, San Diego State on campus, it's one thing to play them in a neutral, but to have the opportunity to get Gonzaga at Viejas Arena, that's challenging. That's not easy to do, right?
Yeah, I want to give the home fans something good on the non-conference schedule, and maybe some years it's not what everybody wants, but I'm not for lack of trying. Right now, the really good teams, they want to play you in a neutral game. Right. They don't want to come to Viejas and play. You know, they don't want to run that risk. They'll say, we'll get them in a neutral. We don't have to go there. Because I think everybody knows it's hard to win in Viejas. Mm-hmm. So they don't want to play us at our place. And so then we have to take neutral games. But when you get an opportunity to get a Gonzaga to come in, a Stanford to come in, people that have given us home and homes. In the past, we played Arizona State, Washington, all those teams, UCLA,
right.
USC, they've all come. But it's more of a challenge. If you beat them, they don't want to come back.
You know, for Aztec fans, it's like the last they saw of your team and Lamont Butler, the team's in Houston. But for Lamont, he's had all this growth over the summer. He was in Vegas. All your players are progressing, obviously, in the summer and the fall. What type of growth can we expect to see from Lamont after what we saw last year in the NCAA tournament?
Well, we've got guys that live in the gym. And so you can't spend all the time in there that they're spending and not get better. Mm-hmm. So all the guys that are returning are going to be better than they were last year. But the whole key is this is not an individual sport. It's putting all their improvement together into a team concept. And so that's why I get paid, is to try to make the team better. You know, they work hard to get their games better, and then I have to put them in positions where they can be successful.
You know, coming off a national championship game, you know, how do you view your program? You hear a lot of people say, well, San Diego State's still not a Power 5 school, and they're still in the Mountain West Conference. But I mean, the national exposure and as much winning as you guys have done, just how do you view this program compared to the rest of college basketball?
I mean, people know we're a good team. They say, even when they do the mid-major rankings now, they say we don't include Gonzaga or San Diego State in there because they're not mid-major programs. So we flip the narrative on that. People don't rank us as a mid-major team. They rank us as a high-major program playing in a non-Power 5 conference. And so we've dictated that narrative, and we continue to dictate it. We say we're San Diego State, no matter what conference we're in, we're going to remain who we are.
I go back to last year in the NCAA tournament. You were asked repeatedly about Jaden Ledee, and you kept saying what you're seeing right now from Jaden is not necessarily what you're going to see moving forward because the pieces you had a year ago and the growth he's had in his game and what you're going to have for 23-24. What are your expectations for Jaden now, his third year in your program?
He's been a monster in practice. I mean, no one can mess with him. I don't have a guy on our own team that can guard him. So he presses his game too hard sometimes. He needs to let it come to him a little bit. But he is a dynamic player. He can shoot the three, even though he hasn't made a three in his college career. He attacks the basket, finishing around the rim, and then he's an elite offensive rebounder. So Jaden's going to have a chance to have a breakout season this year in his last year.
What made the Reese Waters fit right for you guys and to make you guys go out in the transfer portal as hard as you did to bring him here?
It's just you can't replace experience, and he's played 3 years in the Pac-12, so he's got a lot of playing experience, and so that will translate right away. He's played in hard games. He's played against good competition. So now it's just learning how to play within the things we do, which he'll do because in practice every day, all he's trying to do is please his coaches, play the right way, play how we want him to play. He's not coming in saying, this is what I do. You got to adjust to me. He's going out of his way to try to help us win basketball games in the preseason. Now we'll see when the games come if that translation is there.
Yeah, I was going to say that like the transition and integrating him into your system and culture. We talked to Lamont and talking about, hey, we want him to shoot more. There's a times when he's kind of in practice and he's kind of deferring. We want him to be himself. How long do you think that process is going to take for him to truly be fully comfortable with everybody and you guys?
Well, hopefully when the lights come on and they throw the ball up, he'll be the player we know he is. And he is that player. But like any new guy, you go to a new job and you want to not get in there and show everybody, hey, I'm running this place. He's just trying to fit in.
Yeah.
And his teammates are encouraging him, don't worry, you can do more. We're not going to be mad if you do. And so that's the great combination where he's trying to fit in, please his teammates, and they're telling him, do more if you can. And that's a great combination.
Brian Dutcher with us right now, San Diego Sports 760 and Jon and Jim. For Elijah Saunders and Miles Burt to have the opportunity and experiences that they had as true freshmen, they got to be just chomping at the bit, so excited for this opportunity. How do you hope for them to take advantage of it in their second year in the program and having to play a larger role?
Yeah, I mean, they were really good players last year, but when you're playing behind 6-year Seiko, 5th-year Arope, 5th-year Mensah, 5th-year Bradley, it's hard to get minutes. It's hard to crack that lineup and even get a taste. But they've been good in practice. They've had a year in the program. They've improved from last year, and now we'll throw them out there, and there'll be an adjustment. There's always practice, but games are not practice. It's a whole nother field. So they'll get out there. They're going to get their feet wet, and sure, they're going to make some mistakes and try to please us and play the right way. But eventually, it'll all come together. They'll free themselves up mentally, and they'll go out there and be really good Aztecs.
Heading into this season, you guys were looking to add a lot of front court depth, and you got Jay Powell. For him, how has he looked so far heading up to the season?
Jay Powell's been good, And again, he's another one that's trying to play well with his teammates, and he could be more selfish at times. But he's an interesting guy because he's thin. He's long and thin, so he can play the stretch four or he can play a small forward. And that's for us to decide what he does better. That's all part of the process of what we're doing now. And it may take us some games into the season to figure out where he's most effective on the floor for our team. And so, like I said, I'm comfortable with the talent we have. I know we have good talent. Now I have to get comfortable as to rotations, who plays best with who. And I'm trying to do that every day in practice. And when we start playing games, trying to figure out how we can be at our best collectively.
Dutch, I found it a little bit kind of humorous, the way you were asked throughout the NCAA tournament last year, hey, what is this going to mean for your recruiting? As if to say, Well, first of all, how do you get to a national championship game without having great players in place? You already have had that. What is it about San Diego State's ability to recruit over the last 25 years that has allowed you to sustain this success that you've had now and moving forward?
You don't win without players, and we've won a lot of games. And so when we had Kawhi Leonard, Billy White, Malcolm Thomas, Chase Tapley, and DJ Gay lost to Kemba Walker in the Sweet 16, we could have won the national title that year. And everyone said, boy, you're really going to get good players now. I said, we just played in the Sweet 16. And then we had the 30-2 team. And everyone said, boy, you just went 30-2. You're going to really be able to get really good players. I said, we just went 30-2.
Right.
And now we play for the national championship. Everyone's saying now, boy, you're really going to get good players now. I said, we just played for the national championship.
Right.
We've had good players.
Yeah.
And so sometimes don't get caught up in where a high school player ranks when we take them. Just trust in the process that we're getting good players that are going to develop into better players.
I mean, it doesn't hurt, though. Like, hey, we were just in the national championship game last year. You want to come to a program, we can win a national championship. It doesn't hurt to throw that in there as far as the recruiting goes for you, Dutch. But
it just adds to all the other good things we got. Now we have that, too, to add to the resume.
Exactly. You mentioned AG. He's now staying at San Diego State to be part of the program still. Coaching. What does it mean to keep him around the club, the team, and the program? And I went to an Aztec football game this past a couple weeks ago, and I saw him with a couple players, and I think it was with Elijah Saunders and Miles Bird. So he's been around the players. What does it mean to keep him in the program?
I mean, it says a lot to how we feel about him, that we feel like 1 year after his playing career is done, we're going to put him on staff. It means we think the world of him. We think his potential to lead from a different position on the floor, from a coaching position, is something we can't do without. And so AG has been a winner for our program as a player, and now he's going to be a winner for our program as a coach.
Final one for me, Dutch. When you think about Monday, November 6th, and what that atmosphere is going to be like, you've been a part of all the great atmospheres in the history of Viejas Arena. I mean, literally every single one. But when you get in an environment like that, there's a moment for the celebration and that experience, but then you got to have to put that to the side and prepare your team for the game. How do you do that as a coach?
That's just enjoy every moment, but then when it's time to lock in. So hopefully we'll have the ability to do that. With it, we can enjoy the emotion of hanging banners, but then when the ball is tipped off, that we can focus ourselves on the task at hand, and that's winning games.
It's going to be one of the great nights in the history of Viejas Arena, Monday, November 6th, right here on San Diego Sports 760. Dutch, great to see you in Vegas. Travel safe. Congratulations on all these successes, and we'll see you again next month.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Brian Dutcher, head coach of the Aztecs. We're going to hear from Darion Trammell coming up in a moment. I mean, there's something about just hearing Dutch. We heard from him so much last year during that run. Mm-hmm. He's met with all the media today, by the way, national media, local media. Oh, yeah. And, the spot that San Diego State basketball is in right now is just, it's incredible. I mean, it's been a great spot under Steve Fisher and now Dutch, but where they are right now off of last year, let's see what happens coming up.
One of the best things about Dutch, you wouldn't know if they went 1-20 or if they went 30-2.
Yeah, it's true.
He is the same person all the time. And that's, I think, what's great about this program is you have the consistency of Dutch that he's going to give you that you won't get from some others.
You know that 1-20 isn't the same number of games as 30-2, right?
I'm just, throwing out random numbers, John. I wasn't trying to be scientific.
I was just checking.
Yeah.
Darion Trammell, who hit the biggest free throw in the history of San Diego State University to get the Aztecs to the first Final Four in school history. He will join us on the other side. We're at Resorts World in Vegas for Mountain West Media Day. Stay with us on Jon and Jim. JD Gaucho, my man, what's going on, guys? Appreciate the super chats. If you were hanging out with us live on YouTube this afternoon, we get to every single super chat. Great way to support our work. We appreciate your support of the channel. Just click the $ below the chat box. By the way, if you're here, please subscribe, whether it's live or on replay. Really do appreciate it. Please hit the like button for us as well. JD Gaucho says, have you seen any Elvis impersonators yet? How did the all-you-can-eat sushi at midnight go? All right, well, if you missed that earlier, I don't think we've seen any Elvis impersonators.
No,
not this week.
I saw a ad on a taxi for a Michael Jackson tour.
Right.
That's not really Elvis. So.
Yeah, a little different. The sushi was legitimately good. It's Sushi is the name of the place.
I honestly, the sushi we had there, I
like
would
good
not
quality,
expect
right?
it to be as good quality for an all-you-can-eat place.
Here's the thing: if we would have gone there at 7 p.m. and had dinner,
Disaster.
it would have been amazing. Yeah, we would have eaten too much, even more. But like, I was so worried about eating a lot at midnight. I never do that. Although it was sushi, and to Jim's point, it was really good, and it was affordable. I thought it was super affordable.
It's like
quality.
26
Yeah.
bucks, dude.
So if you're ever in Vegas, I think that's underrated. I've never done all-you-can-eat sushi in Vegas, and there's a million places. And get away from the resorts and get away from the strip and do it. It's sushi in Vegas.
It's sushi.
Guys, appreciate you hanging out. Darion Trammell still to come. Lamont Butler still to come. We'll get back to the Dodgers and the Padres and what's to come in 2024 for both of those teams as well, coming up at the 5 o'clock hour. Did I miss a tease, by the way?
Probably.
I probably missed a tease. I missed a tease. Yeah, my bad, Brett. Sorry. All right, got to get back to it, JD Gotcha. Thanks, guys. Darion Trammell, San Diego State senior guard, helping lift the Aztecs to a national championship game. His free throw sending them to the first Final Four in school history. He'll join us next.
All right, this update is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. Dodgers, they are officially eliminated from the postseason as they got swept by the D-backs last night, 4-2. D-backs now move on to the NLCS, where they'll take on the winner of the Braves-Phillies game. Braves-Phillies game 4, about a half hour away from first pitch in Philadelphia, as the Phillies have a 2-1 series lead there. The ALCS is set. as the Astros will take on the Texas Rangers. Moving over to San Diego State, we are at Media Day, and the Mountain West preseason conference poll has been released, and the Aztecs are ranked number 1 in the preseason polls. And tonight, Week 6 kicks off in the NFL about 45 minutes from now as the Chiefs take on the Broncos. Travis Kelce is questionable for that game, but he is expected to play. The utterly inspired all-electric EQE sedan from Mercedes-Benz with hundreds of customizable comfort settings inside the cabin is the EV that recharges you. The vehicle is all-electric. The feeling is all Mercedes. Learn more at mbusa.com/EQE.
We're headed back out to Mountain West Media Day in Vegas, setting the stage for San Diego State Aztecs basketball. Our coverage is sponsored by Windmill Farms, the college area's natural grocer. Now back to Mountain West Media Day with Jon and Jim.
All right, back with you here, Resorts World in Vegas. Great to be here for Mountain West Media Day. We're less than 4 weeks out. The Aztecs opener Monday, November 6th against Cal State Fullerton. We're about to hear from Darion Trammell. Was joined by Darion right before the start of our show. You'll hear from Lamont Butler coming up at 5:30 as well. We started our conversation with Darion Trammell about really where this team is right now and him specifically. How was his offseason off the craziness of last year?
I mean, it was something that we just want to build off of. That's something that's kind of the motto for our season, building off last year and not being complacent with last year. And we know that. So we have a lot of new pieces, a lot of new guys who are trying to prove themselves. And we have like me, Lamont, Jaden, Micah. We have guys like that who have to step into the new leadership role, and losing some of the guys last year who led us, to a national championship or the national championship game. And so we have to step up and take our roles more seriously. And I think that's going to be our identity of the season, is just meshing together and putting everyone in position to win.
After, the national championship game, you guys kind of become a little bit of a household name, and, you guys are seen around San Diego. You're recognized everywhere. For you in the offseason, was there a moment where it was like, whoa, when the national championship game effect kind of hit you a little bit?
Yeah, I think it was just scrolling on YouTube and seeing the games on YouTube just randomly, and just seeing the amount of views that they had is ridiculous. And they have the whole entire highlights of every game on there. So that was an eye opener for me, and just some of the pictures and the item, like the rewards we got, like the gifts that we got from the NCAA tournament, is just something that brings that reliving moment. And so that's always great to see stuff like that. It just puts you back in the moment. And I think it finally hit where, like, all right, we did that. So now I have that good feeling now.
What was the best gift you guys got?
I would say we have a basketball signed by all of us with Final Four stuff on it. It's in a nice little box, in our Final Four rings.
Okay, yeah, Final Four rings. That's pretty cool. Do you keep that? Like, where do you keep that?
It's in the case.
Okay.
It's in a Final Four case. It's very secure. I have it right in a nice spot. It's wonderful. But sometimes I may wear it if I want to show off a little bit. But it's a great thing. That's probably my favorite gift.
That's awesome.
Darion Trammell is with us right now. San Diego Sports 760. Jon and Jim live from Mountain West Media Day. So, Darion, your story is incredible for our listeners. From City College of San Francisco to Seattle University, a year later, you're playing in the national championship game. Is that still a bit surreal, your path?
Definitely. I think it's more eye-opening and motivating, if anything. Just looking back on where I started is just ridiculous. I never really thought I'd go to a national championship game. Obviously, I thought we would go far, and Dutch made it clear to me that I was one of the pieces to go to be a part of that team. But just going to the national championship game and just starting where I came from is something that's super motivating. It makes me want to keep going every day and realize, like, everything's on God's timing, and when it's supposed to happen, it's going to happen as long as you do things the right way and do your work.
I feel like San Diego State has always been a program built on chip on shoulder, blue collar type players, not necessarily blue chip recruits, but blue collar, chip on shoulder type players. As you enter another season where the target's on your back, how do you kind of turn the page from what happened last year and clean slate and put yourself in a position where you can have success?
Everyone has bigger goals. I think we have a lot of players who want to be pros at the end of the day. So obviously we have to win and you have to showcase your skills at the same time. So I think if everyone's kind of motivated at all times and not being complacent and understanding last year was great, but I mean, it's not going to have any effect on us, just how we play this year. So I think our target on our back is more, it's on a national stage now. And so understanding that and not letting these opportunities get past us and allowing people to be like, oh yeah, that was just last year. Like we don't want that. So just understanding that and making sure we take advantage of all these opportunities, playing these great teams in our preseason. All these good games, we just have to be ready for them.
So moving to this year, you guys have obviously a different team, but you still have the core coming back. For the new guys that are coming in, how have you guys been with the new players and integrating them into you guys' culture of like, look, we have a standard here. And after last year going to national championship game, like we're not going to try to settle for anything less.
Yeah, that standard just elevates. I think we as leaders, as the returners, we understand that. And for me personally, I understand that new guys coming in, freshmen or transfers, there's going to be a learning curve. Yeah. Defensively, offensively, it's going to be a curve and where you're going to go through your struggles and it's all going to work out. I think that's my biggest message for the transfers and new guys coming in is you can't be so caught up in the everyday and think about the long term. Like this is ultimately, you're going to be good when it's time to be good. It's just embracing that struggle and that process to get there is the biggest thing.
San Diego State guard Darion Trammell with us right now. Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. So we had a conversation literally this week.
It was yesterday.
Maybe it was yesterday about, man, can you imagine the pressure that Darion was under in the Elite Eight with basically a trip to the Final Four on the line? And we both said, listen, of the 2 free throws, if there's one I've got any chance of hitting, it's going to be the first.
Bro, how did you make that second one,
Yeah,
dude?
all the pressures in the world is on you for the second one.
No, honestly, the first one was kind of shaky. The first one was, this is my first free throw of the game. I haven't shot many free throws in this tournament. So, I mean, the first one was like, all right, we'll see what happens. Do my regular routine, and it felt good. And then the second one was, after I missed the first one, it was like, okay, I understand. I got my free throw in. Now I got it. This one's going in.
And, of course, you guys never get to play Creighton if not for the victory over Alabama in the Sweet 16. You think about the whole Louisville experience. I mean, you're taking out the top seed in the tournament. You go down 9. The nation's thinking it's been a nice run from San Diego State, but here comes Alabama, the mighty Crimson Tide. And we looked at the box score the other day or yesterday. Out of the timeout, you hit a 3, then a steal, then another 3, a personal 8-0 run. What did you learn about your team and yourself in that Alabama adversity?
I think that was a big game for us. Just it's kind of set the tone for us. Just being down and understanding like this is a long game. We're in the tournament. Like we've seen crazier, so why can't we do crazy things and come back and take advantage of teams who get complacent or think they won the game so early. And so just having that not giving up standard. It's win or go home. So why not go home fighting? And I mean that fight got us some wins late when we were down. That's just how it plays out. A team who's not going to give up, who's going to keep playing hard, they're going to ultimately win in the end.
Your confidence level, where's it at right now going into the season?
Super high. Super high. I think not just off of last season, but just now I kind of have an understanding of the system. San Diego State system, I've been through a year of it. And ultimately it came out more later in the season. So now starting at the beginning of the season, I feel like I'm already better than I am. And that's something that me and Dutch talked about before. I'm much more comfortable, much more confident just because I know where I'm supposed to be. And so now it's just free flowing. And now I can go to just being myself and not thinking as much, trying to be in the right place because it's just habit.
I feel like when we talked to you about it a year ago, you kind of just knew it was the right spot for you for whatever reason, right? I mean, San Diego State was really interested in you. How has the dynamic played out? How did you know San Diego State? Of course, you could never predict you'll play in a national championship game, but how did you know San Diego State was the right spot for Darion?
Trusting my gut. I think that's something that Dutch does he does a great job. We talked before we even thought about playing the game, just how much he saw the fit for me. And when the head coach makes you feel like you're a piece to add to make a team go far, I mean, it's hard to go somewhere else or think about alternative things like money, NIL money and stuff like that. He just made it such a fitting thing for me. So I couldn't turn that down. And I mean, it played out for the best.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, it played out pretty well.
It played out really well. Have you thought about before you go Monday, November 6th, Viejas Arena, Cal State Fullerton, banner raising night? Have you thought about what that's going to be like for you and your teammates to experience?
It's going to be unreal. The fans are going to be super excited. This is the fans who didn't travel, which was many. So fans who didn't travel, this is their first time to see us again. And especially with that banner going up after such a historical season, it's going to be electric in there, and we're excited to get in there.
Darion Trammell, senior guard for San Diego State. What a year it was. What a year it's going to be. Thanks for joining us here on Jon and Jim.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, one of the really, they got great players who know that. We'll hear from Lamont Butler coming up at 5:30. They have great people. He dealt with a lot. Jim, you remember this last year. A lot of adversity. It was not perfect for Darion Trammell, right? I mean, he was a big-time scorer at Seattle at like 18, 19 points per game. That was not the role he was asked to take, and he finally got it all put together at the perfect time of year. That was in the NCAA tournament.
He struggled. I remember there was a stretch last year where he wasn't seeing much playing time, and he was missing a lot of shots, and I know Dutch has given him the not green light, but the confidence to shoot the ball because he can score. And there was a stretch there. It was like he was hurting this team, and then he completely turned it around in the tournament. I think he was one of their most important players in the tournament by far. From game one all the way to the national championship game, he had big moment after big moment, and I mean, he was the best player on the floor against Alabama, the number one team in the country, and he was the best player on the floor.
No doubt about it. All right, Lamont Butler, of course, the Final Four hero. He will join us coming up at 5:30. On the other side, this has been a point of contention with Aztec football fans before. Late kickoff times. Deion Sanders now. Coach Prime chiming in. We're going to get to the wrap. Coach Prime on late kick times. That's next. Plus, you'll hear from Lamont Butler coming up at 5:30. We're at Resorts World in Las Vegas. Stay with us on Jon and Jim.
It's Mountain West Media Day out in Sin City. We look towards San Diego State Aztecs basketball. Our coverage is sponsored by Windmill Farms, the college area's natural grocer. Now back to Mountain West Media Day with Jon and Jim.
All right, the wrap on the other side. Coach Prime weighing in on late start times. We'll give you our reaction next. All right, back here from Resorts World in Las Vegas, Jon and Jim. Lamont Butler, San Diego State's hero, of course, last year in the Final Four on the way to the national championship game. We'll be joined by Lamont coming up at 5:30. We're going to get back to what's going on in the MLB postseason, what's going on both on field and off of it, coming up at 5 p.m. But right now, let's get to this.
Who's going to lead the Aztecs in scoring this season?
I'm gonna say it's gonna be. I'm gonna go Reese Waters. I think
Reese Waters. Okay,
yeah,
I like that. Yeah.
I think you're gonna have a lot of different scores on this team. You can't go wrong with, like, if you pick Jaden or if you pick Lamont or even Darion, right? But I think Reese has come in, and the mindset from him, and I think the message is like, we want you to score. So I'm going to pick him.
I'm going to pick really maybe their lone forward starter or their five-man, Jaden LeDee.
Yeah,
I just think Jaden's going to have so many more opportunities on offense. Now, I don't know how many minutes he's going to play. He played something like 20 or so minutes a game last year with Nathan Mensah as well. I think the minutes are going to go up, obviously. You're always worried about foul trouble with 4s and 5s, but he's been a monster. That's what Brian Dutcher told us earlier in training camp and practice so far this year. And nobody's going to average 20 points on a team that's this dynamic and good, but somebody's going to average 14 or 15 points, and I think Jaden LeDee can be that player.
Yep.
Next question.
Do you guys give the Broncos a puncher's chance tonight against the Chiefs at Arrowhead on Thursday Night Football?
Bro, Taylor's in the building. No chance. 0 chance, dude. No way in hell.
What's the number here in Vegas? 11, 11 and a half?
Do you think the line went up when they found out Taylor Swift was going to be
Probably. It's got to be a huge number, right?
10.5.
Okay, 10.5. I say lay the points, right?
Lay the points.
Kansas City at home, they'll find a way to win by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, Travis will catch a touchdown. Al Michaels will be disgusted with everything tonight. How, like, upset is Al Michaels.
He's so mad.
He is going to be so mad.
He said it could be part of the show, but a sideshow can't be the show.
He is going to be so upset. Kirk Herbstreit is going to be sitting there like, dude, it's okay. Chill out.
You don't think she'll join the Amazon booth and promote her new movie or whatever?
No, I'm going to say no on that one.
There's no chance, though. The Broncos are not winning tonight at Arrowhead.
No, you won't hear Al Michaels give any Taylor Swift song.
Oh, upset song?
Or just like,
dude, Al Michaels is too old to care if she's eating ketchup with her ranch or whatever. He doesn't care.
Yeah, he
called a Miracle on Ice. Damn it! You think he cares about Taylor Swift?
No,
probably not.
Probably not.
Next question.
He doesn't.
Guys, will the Dodgers win 100 games again next season?
Probably, and they'll probably lose in the postseason again. So I think the Dodgers are going to retool. Unfortunately, I think they were going to do that regardless. But now it's just like kind of a little scary to think the fact that they can go out and get Ohtani and like Blake Snell. It's just, man, I don't know what they're going to do. But yeah, they're going to win 100 games next year probably.
Yeah, they'll win 100 games. The only question, though, is what are they going to do in the postseason? Going back to this point that baseball now is more about, of course you got to get in. You have to get in, but a lot of teams get in. 12 of the 30 teams are getting in. You have to make a run. If you're a franchise like the Dodgers or the Yankees, you have to make a run. They have not been making a run. So I don't care how many games they win. If they're not winning World Series, that's how they're going to be judged. So, yeah, I think they win 100 games, but I think they come up short like they typically do in the postseason. Next question.
Do you agree with Coach Prime that he said late start times are the stupidest thing ever?
I think this could be put into the excuse category. And Coach Prime, we don't do excuses. We do not do excuses, Coach. And you're starting to use this as an excuse. I don't like it. I don't mind the Pac-12 after dark.
Because you don't work them.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
But if
I wouldn't mind the Aztecs late starts either if I didn't have to work them.
But if you didn't work them, it wouldn't be a problem, right?
No.
Brent? Yeah. So only if you're working them, it's a problem. If you're not working them, it's fine. And if you're on the East Coast, it sucks, but that's your fault.
Here's my take on them. If it starts before 8 o'clock, if it starts before 8 o'clock local, I think it's fair game.
Yeah.
Dion is talking about some of these games are starting at 8 o'clock Mountain, so local for the Colorado Buffaloes. And remember, back in the day, Brent will remember this. Jim was probably like 0. Monday Night Football was at 9 p.m. Eastern until like 15 years ago. And then they still, all these games are, every single NFL primetime game is kicking off after 8:15 local if it's played in the East. Where are the complaints about Monday Night Football and Thursday Night Football and Sunday Night Football? And by the way, these college games are starting 45 minutes or more before those games a lot. San Diego State, when they start a game, quote unquote, late, they're starting at 7:30. Not 9 p.m. local. There's a difference for me between 7:30 and 9 p.m. local. I understand frustrations, but TV pays the bills for college athletics. So if you want to get the salaries that Deion Sanders is getting, if you want the TV revenue that Colorado is going to get moving forward in the Big 12, you're going to have to accommodate television, and that means you're going to have to play some games at night.
Yeah. It's just
he wasn't complaining about. They played at 10 a.m. Big noon kickoff a couple times.
Yeah, dude, Dion, bro, you've been the talk of college football. Let's not complain about start times of football games, okay? Thanks.
Deal. Okay, that sounds good. I don't know if you saw this yesterday. The Dodgers are out of the postseason.
What?
And we're going to compare the disappointment here in San Diego to the disappointment that Dodgers fans are going through as well.
Or can we just make fun of the Dodgers?
What's that?
Can we just make fun of the Dodgers instead?
We can do that as well. And stop with the blame game. It's this fault. It's that fault. It's the format's fault. You'll hear from Bryce Harper on the other side as well. Game 4 about to start in Philadelphia between the Phillies and the Braves. And Lamont Butler at 5:30 will join the show. We're at Resorts World for Mountain West Media Day, presented by Windmill Farms. Hour 3, Jon and Jim next.
All right, this update is brought to you by Petrel Team Real Estate. Dodgers, they're eliminated. They got beat by the Diamondbacks last night, swept out of the playoffs, losing in division series for the second straight year. D-backs are on to the NLCS, where they'll take on either the Phillies or the Braves. Phillies-Braves, moments away from being underway in Game 4 in Philadelphia. Phillies are looking to close out the Braves and move on to the NLCS. The Aztecs were picked to finish first in the Mountain West Conference preseason media poll today at Mountain West Media Day. The start of Week 6 in the NFL, kickoff moments away in Kansas City between the Chiefs and the Broncos. Would you like to know what your home would sell for today? Get a simple text message with your home's value by texting your address to 855-600-6000. You'll get no phone call, just a text. Jim Petrel has the buyer. Simply text your address to 855-600-6000.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Final hour of Jon and Jim, Resorts World Mountain West Media Day here in Las Vegas. You'll hear from Lamont Butler coming up. Final Four hero for the Aztecs, getting ready for his senior year. He will join us at 5:30, so be listening. Stay with us. He'll join us in about 25 minutes. We're also reacting to the Major League Baseball playoffs. And you could argue, Jim, there's been more excitement off field than on. The series have not been great, whether it was the divisional round or the wild card round. Yes, we have Phillies-Braves Game 4, crucial game. It could go 5. We'll see. The back and forth in the Phillies-Braves series is fascinating.
Oh, my gosh.
And it's become like Clubhouse etiquette gate.
Dude.
After the media reported on what Orlando Arcia said about Bryce Harper, you talked about it earlier.
Yeah.
Harper responded with "It's personal," hit 2 home runs yesterday. And now, like, the media is all offering their angles on what is appropriate, what is not appropriate when it comes to Clubhouse etiquette.
It's stupid.
It's ridiculous.
We talked about it at the start of the show. It's like, guys, if you don't want things to be reported on, if you don't want things to get out there, don't talk about it around the media. And if you do, like,
that's on you.
That's on you.
If we say something on air, that's on us.
It's on us.
It is flat out on us.
If during a break I start cussing, which I have.
Yeah, you always know, like the microphone. You have a microphone in front of your face.
Got a microphone. If you have somebody around you and you don't want them to hear it, don't say it. You know, it's not this situation where if you're talking to a player off the record and all of a sudden the media member says, well, so-and-so said this, but then the player was like, whoa, I was talking to him and this was supposed to be off the record. That is crossing the line. That is something that should be completely just stopped right there, nip it in the bud. Like, that should not happen.
Well, I thought it was funny because I kind of compared it to, wasn't it Le'Veon Bell that taped the Steelers post-game, like, right after the coach's initial thoughts before they let the media in there, and everyone threw a fit because he wasn't supposed to tape that. They're acting like that's what this was, but it's like Jim said, the media was in the room. Don't say something when there's especially opposing team media standing 2 feet from you and expect them not to go back and report it.
Yeah, this is simple stuff. And by the way, if the Braves can't beat the Phillies because of something like this,
bigger problems,
then put that on the Braves. Yeah. And by the way, if the Phillies truly need this motivation, then put that on the Phillies. You know what I mean? Everyone's looking for an edge. At the end of the day, they're playing baseball. Pitchers are throwing the baseball. Do you understand that, Jim? Jim facts.
What?
You're throwing a ball that has to be hit.
Yeah.
You're trying to outscore someone. Jim facts.
Oh,
that's the goal here.
Okay.
It's not because of what Orlando Arcia said or Bryce Harper sweatshirt that the series is where it is. We're making way too much out of it. Now, Brent, you're still grabbing the sound, right? Okay, let's start here. Okay, let's start here and then get some of the reaction. This is Alana Rizzo, MLB Network.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just leave that there.
Yeah.
So she is voicing an opinion that how dare this happen to Orlando Arcia and the Braves. Take a listen to this.
She was on the high heat
with Chris Russo. Take a listen to this.
Out. And I am so irritated with all of these people, these bloggers or podcasters or not even reporters, not even journalists going into the clubhouse. You're ruining it for the rest of us. The guys that come in the postseason and don't have any clue of the pulse of the team, and it's making it worse for the people that are there every single day, covering this team on a daily basis, and then some jack-off comes in at the end of the season that gets a credential, God only knows why. And the clubhouse is a sacred space. And I remember I've been in clubhouses for the last 16, 17 years. I remember I would go in there, get my job done, and get out. That is their space. So for this idiot to go in there and take something out of context just to give himself a name is ridiculous. And I completely understand what Travis d'Arnaud is saying. I completely understand what Kevin Gossman is saying. You guys can throw up the tweets right now about Kevin Gossman, what he was saying about the fact that they should be allowed to talk in their own clubhouse. Now, there are non-media areas and clubhouses. I understand that, but that's ridiculous. You have to have some sort of decorum intact. If you're going to be lucky enough to cover a Major League Baseball team or a professional team, this is what Kevin Gossman had to say. It's ridiculous us players have to watch what we say in our clubhouse. And you know what? He's absolutely right. That is their space. It is not a space to go in there and linger around and watch their televisions and just kind of, hang out in there. That's not your space. Some of y'all mad. All I'm saying is that you should not be allowed to quote a player or say you heard something like this in the clubhouse when you, the reporter, are not talking to that player. First of all, this guy, Jake Mintz, that's not even a reporter. That's taking away from true reporters and true journalists. Where were you on the random Tuesday in April in Cincinnati when this team was playing in Cincinnati? Where were you on a rain delay and you have to sit in the press box for all of this time? Yeah. It's ridiculous.
You sound like me.
So, okay. Do you want to go first?
Well, I do, because I spent 15 years working in baseball.
Oh, what?
So I would like to react to it. It is here is the take you just heard from Alana Rizzo is the don't step on my territory. This is the way it used to be done. Therefore, it's the way it should be done. By the way, Alana, define journalist, reporter for me. Define how one would be a journalist or a reporter, but another would not. Have you not looked around on your phone? Everyone's a reporter. Everyone's a content creator. Everyone has the ability to create influence. When media is in a clubhouse, I knew this in A-Ball in Lynchburg, Virginia. When media is in the clubhouse, you cannot say the same thing than when they're not in the clubhouse. Simple as that. Because if you do, you are always open to the possibility that becomes public. Everyone understands that. This is the major leagues. And to have that take is just like, I don't know, it's just so out of touch and it's so like, hey, I've been doing it for 20 years and you've been doing it for 20 days. Therefore, my way is right and your way is wrong. And there's no other way to look at it.
If I could eye roll any harder, I would, but I literally can't.
Mm-hmm.
Alana, get off your high horse. I mean, I know you're trying to get somebody now clicks, and because that's what you're doing. You are doing this to get clicks. Congratulations, you got it. You got clicks. You're gonna get this played everywhere, and everyone's gonna say you're stupid.
But she doesn't like when other people are trying to get clicks.
Yeah, she doesn't like that. I forgot.
Right? Because they're bloggers, but she's a reporter.
Yeah,
Remind me again of the difference.
Yeah, clutch your pearls harder. You can't. It's she's so off base. I think. She just doesn't understand, and it's sad because she has to resort to this to belittle another member of the media, who, by the way, Jake Mintz is, I believe, a Baseball Writers of America Association member, if I'm not mistaken. So that's pretty legitimate to me. He also has one of the most successful podcasts out there.
What's the what are we talking about? The difference between Alana Rizzo working for MLB Network and someone else working for another outlet or working for themselves is that MLB Network hired Alana Rizzo. So therefore she's better than anyone else that's going to report on the sport.
She's not better than anybody else. And I think she looks stupid for even going to put down another media member like she is right now.
Why are we
You know what this reminds me of? JJ Redick.
Why?
Well, when he did the whole thing with Stephen A. of, well, you didn't play, so you shouldn't be able to comment.
Yeah.
Well, you're not a real reporter. You shouldn't even be allowed in the clubhouse because I'm a real reporter. You're just a blogger.
Let's be clear. Nobody is disputing the fact that A, he said it, and B, it has no impact on the field of play.
Yeah.
So what? So he said it, and someone reported on it. It's been made out to be so much bigger than it actually is.
Yeah.
If the Braves just would have won the baseball game yesterday, nobody would even be discussing this today. No one.
So, Alana Rizzo, I just laugh at when I heard that because it's so stupid. Chelsea Janes.
Yes.
All right. Chelsea Janes, friend of the show. We've had her on multiple times.
Also
Love
a journalist.
Chelsea. Also a legitimate journalist. We love Chelsea. Moments after this was out there on the air, this is from Chelsea about a half hour ago. And this is a thread on X, Twitter. And this is pretty much a mic drop moment for me. To anybody out there, especially Alana Rizzo, who is literally clutching the pearls by the like the grasp of God. Chelsea Janes writes on Twitter, "Hey there. I'm the other reporter who reported that Arcia said that the Clubhouse Monday night. I didn't name him because I didn't see who said it. But I'm sick of watching people, particularly colleagues in the media, criticize my friend Jake Mintz for it. Cameras were rolling. Recorders were rolling. In fact, last night I asked Arcia if he knows recorders are rolling in the clubhouse. He said through his interpreter that, quote, there are. I don't know that they have to be there, but they are. 1, he yelled that phrase when cameras and recorders were rolling. I have the audio. Had done it at a slightly different moment. A camera sending an interview live to the truck might have caught it. Would you be eviscerating that network? Or would you say, shouldn't say that with cameras around? 2, suggesting that you shouldn't report something said in the presence of more than a dozen reporters because it, quote, wasn't meant to get out, is suggesting reporters should be protecting players from themselves. That's not our job. It's theirs. And 3, he said, attaboy, Harper. It wasn't a slur. It wasn't hateful. It was trash talk. And the only reason anyone cares that it got out is because they know it would motivate Harper to beat them, which implies the Braves do not feel they can handle a motivated Bryce Harper and are willing to suggest that is why they lost the other day. Otherwise, why not laugh it off? And frankly, shouldn't everyone in the Atlanta clubhouse have far greater concerns than a 10-2 loss than whatever Bryce Harper is mad at their shortstop for? They lost by 8 runs. I didn't say something sooner because I thought it was overblown. And frankly, I thought it wouldn't help. But I'm genuinely disgusted by the way some media members are acting like a reporter was in the wrong for this. He wasn't. And if the Braves let this be the story for their series, that's on them. Win and it goes away. Period.
Yeah, the bad thing here for
Mic
Major
drop.
League Baseball, the bad thing for baseball is this is the best thing they have going on. I mean, this really is, other than Bryce Harper's heroics and this series, this Phillies-Braves series, by the way, it ends either today or Game 5. And then after this, you got the Diamondbacks, you got the Rangers. Like, Major League Baseball better hope and pray for compelling baseball on field. They're not going to get bailed out by dumb stories like this that should not have any legs.
Yeah.
Just have no legs at all. This story's been completely overblown.
Yeah.
Clearly, Jake Mintz did nothing wrong.
No.
Clearly, the Braves have made it a bigger deal than it is. And clearly, if the Braves want to shut people up, they could just play better baseball, but they haven't done it to this point.
I said this the other day. Whenever the Dodgers are in the postseason, the team that you're rooting for or you cover isn't, it's always, I'm rooting for the team versus the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Harder than anybody. It's becoming pretty hard for me not to root for the Phillies as hard as I possibly can tonight. And anybody who plays the Atlanta Braves in the near future. Give me an effing break. You said attaboy, Harper. As Chelsea said there perfectly. This wasn't a slur.
Right.
This wasn't derogatory. This was straight up trash talk. If we're literally clutching our pearls and getting so upset over a little trash talk, then I don't know what else to tell you. This is the sport. This is what the sport needs. They need this type of stuff. They need trash talk more than anything. And instead, we're getting media members who look like foolish idiots like Alana Rizzo out there saying things to try to get clicks because no one cares about you anymore, Alana. So you have to put yourself out there and try to be this high horse, better than not everybody else to bash another member of the media who actually, by the way, is respected. So Alana, shut up. Okay. Enough of you. Go with who's she with?
MLB Network.
MLB Network and Mad Dog Russo. Go over there, be upset about it because clearly all you care about is getting clicks now and being an annoying person on television.
All right, here's the one thing I would say. We said this earlier. What the Padres need is more of what the Phillies have. And I'm not even talking about their lineup and their ability to hit the ball and the success they're having right now for the second consecutive postseason. I'm talking about their heart and soul and DNA and their ability to get motivated by slights, which the Padres, for whatever reason, seem to have a really hard time doing, to the point where you're getting swept at home by the Pittsburgh Pirates and your best players getting plunked, and you're unwilling to react to that in any way, shape, or form. Publicly, privately, on field, off field. Bad trait. It should change. And what Harper does to motivate himself and others is something Machado does not do. I'm not saying that alone makes Bryce Harper a better player than Manny Machado. I'm not even saying Bryce Harper is a better player than Manny Machado. But what I am saying is you should credit Harper for getting the most out of himself and his teammates at the biggest times of the year. And that's happening repeatedly.
And one thing that Bryce Harper said last night that I immediately was like, that's interesting. Wish you heard that from certain people on, I don't know, the Padres. This was Bryce Harper talking about Philly and just his love for playing in that city. Take a listen. Sorry to put you on the spot, Brent.
Do we have this sound? Okay.
And
that was very on the spot.
Very on the spot.
The way you did that.
I'm sorry. I
love this
did
place.
That.
Flat out, I love this place. There's nothing like coming into the bank and playing in front of these fans. Blue collar mentality, tough, fighting every single day. I get chills, man. I get so fired up. Man, I love this place. I signed here for a reason, to do everything I could to bring back a trophy to this town, to Mr. Middleton, to this organization. I got chills thinking about it because that's what it's all about. I absolutely love this place. I love every single person in this organization, fighting, clawing every single day to get back to that moment. There were so many good times in 07, 08, 09, 2010, 11. And I wanted to get back to that moment.
Do you remember earlier this year when the Padres were going through losing streaks and they were not doing well? And I think maybe they were being booed at times, or I don't remember the exact moment. But Jake Cronenworth was quoted as verbatim. I don't have it's like, hey, I wish the fans would, be a little louder. Like, let's just be a little louder for us. Like
more like this. Hey, this moment was so big, and we heard the fans. We could use more of that.
Yeah, you could use more of that. And Manny Machado, like, hey, if you better jump on the bandwagon now, or else when we start raking, don't get on the bandwagon then. And then at the end of the year, hey, the expectations you guys set for us, the media, you set those expectations for us. I know not every player is like Bryce Harper, and that's why Bryce Harper is one of one. But man, would it be refreshing to hear, I don't know, the same level of like love and commitment from, the Padres players publicly and how much Bryce loves Philadelphia. I just would love to have heard that because I don't know, if you look back this year, how many sales did the Padres have?
More than the Phillies, a lot more.
More than the Phillies.
They drew more fans. How about this? To your point, they should literally have an hour-long media event with the players to thank each and every fan for their support, because it was that absurd, the level of support the Padres got considering their play on the field.
Yeah.
It's that absurd. If the Phillies would have been 11 games under 500 in September and the Eagles would have been playing, there would be 4,000 people at the game.
Yep.
The Padres are playing in front of 43,000 people. They should be thanking each and every fan with a handwritten note in September. You're playing in front of 43,000 fans. You're playing in front of 3.2 million overall. It's the best draw in baseball by the size of the venue. Yet there isn't like completely unabashed support day in and day out for the fan base of the San Diego Padres from the players themselves. The fan base has been so incredibly good for the Padres. What did they do to earn that in 2023?
And I saw people online when I put that out there. Well, you know, if the Padres were winning, you would hear the same thing, dude.
Well, they did win in 2022.
It doesn't matter if they win or lose. The fans, you never want to not say go at the fans, but what you heard from Cronenworth this year, and it's like, I don't know, man. It hit me different when I heard it from Harper last night that I didn't hear. I haven't heard much of that consistently across the board from Padres players recently, and it's a shame. It's a shame because I wish that would be the case, and it's not.
No, we've heard it from Bob Melvin. I think Bob Melvin has showed his support, but then again, he managed in Oakland.
Yeah.
So it's a complete 180. But you're 100% right. Like Padres fans should be Padres players should be way more appreciative for what Padres fans have provided to them, especially during such a disappointing year like 2023. Lamont Butler, Mountain West Media Day here in Vegas at Resorts World. We caught up with him earlier. The star for San Diego State in the Final Four. In his own words, with us next, Jon and Jim. Stay with us. Lamont Butler off a Final Four for the ages will join us next. Stay with us.
All right, this update is brought to you by Jim Petrell Real Estate Team. Baseball playoffs underway in Philadelphia. Game 4 of that series. Phillies lead the Braves 2-1. We are scoreless heading to the top of the second inning there. Dodgers, they are officially eliminated. They got swept by the Arizona Diamondbacks last night. D-backs are moving on to the NLCS. Moving over to the Mountain West Conference as we're at Media Day in Las Vegas. San Diego State was named preseason number 1 or ranked number 1 in the preseason Mountain West Conference media polls. And Thursday Night Football, Week 6 is underway in Kansas City. Kansas City is playing the Denver Broncos. We are scoreless. About 8 minutes left to go in the first quarter there. Travis Kelce was questionable. He is playing for Chiefs. Would you like to know what your home would sell for today? Get a simple text message with your home's value by texting your address to 855-600-6000. You'll get no phone call, just a text. Jim Petrell has the buyers. Simply text your address to 855-600-6000.
All right, with you until 6 o'clock. Jim's back page coming up in about 15 minutes. We've talked with Brian Dutcher and Darion Trammell and the commissioner of the Mountain West, Gloria Nevarez, and San Diego State's beat writer joined us earlier today as well, Mark Zeigler. And right now, our conversation with Lamont Butler, the Final Four hero. We started the conversation asking him how hard or easy it is to put last year in the rearview mirror and now look ahead to 2023-24.
I mean, for myself, I turned the page because, I have goals too. I know I'm not where I want to be. I haven't reached my full goal yet. My full goal is being in the NBA. So I have to keep getting better every day and working towards that. And then, as a team, last year was last year. Like anything we did last year is not going to help us this year. Like we have to, find our own identities. Defensively, we're going to be, the same. We're always going to guard that way, but we have to find our own identity, our own niches to, make this year special and not even, talk about last year. So that's our goal.
And for you, training for the NBA this offseason, what was that experience like for you? And what did you took away from this whole experience that brought you back to San Diego State?
The experience was amazing. It was amazing. It was great. The whole NBA pre-draft process, it was cool to be around the top college players, in the country. So be able to play with them every day and, see where I was at. And, I want to say the biggest thing I learned is that I belong. I feel like I belong in that space, the NBA. I feel like that's somewhere I can, strive in. And, I'm going to just continue to keep working. And, coming back to San Diego, it's great. It's been great. I've been able to have a leadership role. I've been more vocal, taking the things that some of the NBA scouts were saying and, just trying to add it to my game and help the team out in a way that I feel like is going to help us win.
Lamont Butler with us right now. Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. From the last time Aztec fans saw you on the floor in Houston to today, going through the Vegas process and getting ready for this year, where do you feel as if you've improved your game?
I feel like I'm a lot more confident in my three-point ability. I'm taking a lot more shots there. I feel like my pace is a lot better. A lot of times you just see me speeding down and going fast and going downhill. I feel like I still do that as well, but I feel like I have a better pace to it now. A lot of times in the pick and roll, I'm being able to slow down a little bit more and make better reads out of that. So I'm just, still going to play defense at a high level. That's kind of my niche. So just continuing to do that and, just trying to win. That's what it's going to be.
I know we're looking forward, but still the moment that was created, not just by you, but by the team itself, going into this offseason, what's been one thing I asked Darion this, the thing that kind of stood out to you of whoa, that's I didn't expect that, or that's a little eye-opening after the national championship run? Because he said when he went on YouTube and he saw the millions and millions of people that have watched your shot or their games or the highlights, that was his. So what would be yours?
Mine would probably be similar. Just I want to say watching the videos again, because I was in the moment. I couldn't really see everything, but watching the videos and seeing the reaction of everybody, that kind of brings me joy. How everybody was just so happy and see people hugging each other and people like mouth open and stuff like that. And I would see my family on there, and so it was really cool to see that. I feel like that was one of the most eye-opening things.
Do you even remember it? Because I feel like when you're in the moment and the things happen so quickly and you watch it back and you're like, wait, what was I doing? Or wait, this person was doing this? Who was hugging me here? Did you have those feelings watching his back?
Yeah, no, definitely. It was some parts I was like, dang, I don't remember this happening. Dang, that happened. Oh, he hugged me over here, or dang, I didn't know he was over there doing that. But I remember the play vividly. That kind of replays my mind a lot. But the outside things, it was all of a blur after that.
I think some people forget. Lamont Butler with us right now, Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. The stop you guys needed to get to put yourself in that position, but that's really San Diego State. Time and time again throughout the course of the year, you needed stops and you got them. When you think back on that part of it, because out of the timeout, you didn't even have the ball, right? FAU had the ball. They go downhill. I also didn't realize, and obviously you found this out a million times since, how close you came to stepping out of bounds. In real time, I had no idea you got anywhere near the sideline. When you kind of lift that back, do you recall getting that close to a sideline in the process or not?
I did not know I was that close. I didn't know I was even close to the baseline like that. But that was cool. I mean, to see after the game, I saw a picture of my foot. It was literally a centimeter away. So that was cool. But like you said, the stop that happened before that, AG, he played phenomenal defense. And another key factor to that shot is when I drive, Micah moves away, so his player can't help in that situation. So that opened up my pull-up jumper in that spot. So it was a team win, and I was just the one to hit the shot. But it was really a team rally, and everyone played a factor.
I remember when we talked to you last summer, and Darion had gotten here. Everyone was saying, Lamont and Darion are going at each other in practice. They're making each other better. They're spending a lot of time together. I mean, you guys have only played together for a year. You've known each other for maybe just more than a year in terms of the San Diego State relationship. I mean, what does that relationship like and this bond like over the last year with Darion?
Yeah, I mean, Darion's my guy. You know, we talk a lot. We hang out a lot. You know, like I said, last year it was crazy. Like we were just going head to head every practice and stuff. So, you know, now we're still doing that in practices now, but you know, we're able to lean on each other a little bit more. We're both leading, you know, the younger guys. You know, BJ Davis, he's came in as a freshman, so we're both been going at him and like, you know, trying to make him better. So, you know, I feel like, you know, us together, you know, it's hard to stop, you know, on the court. So, you know, we're ready for this year and ready to prove more people wrong.
The non-conference schedule that Dutch has created for you guys, like, might be one of the toughest that San Diego State has ever had for the basketball program. And I always feel like the non-conference schedule that is made by Dutch is kind of a reflection of what he feels like his team could be. So for you, the challenge of facing like the Gonzagas and just the you know, the conference tournament, not the conference tournament, but the tournaments outside of conference that you're playing, how does you feel about the challenge that you guys are going to face coming up here?
We love it. We love it. We want to play these top teams. You know, that's what we came here to do. We came here to prove why we're one of the top, or why we're top players and why we're a top team in the country. So, you know, we love the hard schedule, and, you know, we can't wait. We can't wait for the atmospheres.
Gonzaga specifically, Graham Ike, you go back a couple of years with his time in Wyoming, Ryan Nemhard, Creighton, the last couple of years, the back and forth. That's going to be almost like a reunion when you play Gonzaga, right?
In a way, yeah. You know, those are really, really, really good players. So, you know, we'll be ready for them. You know, it's going to be, you know, a great battle, but I can't wait.
So the new guys on the team, in particular, Reese Waters coming in, kind of, you know, taking the spot of maybe Bradley's role on the team. How do you feel about the new guys, especially Reese coming in, and how have they integrated into your guys' culture and system going up so far this season?
Yeah, Reese is a high-level player. He can score at, you know, all three levels. Really good at creating his shot off the dribble, like you kind of said, like Matt. He's really good at creating a shot. He can shoot, catch and shoot off the dribble, post up. He's a really good player, and he's very unselfish as well. We tell him a lot of times that we want him to shoot more because he passes up a lot of shots. That's just how he is. I mean, he's a team player. Other guys, Jay Powell, he just came in. He's a team player as well. Really long defensively, can, you know, get his hands on a lot of passes and stuff like that. So I feel like we're going to be very versatile offensively. It's just a lot of things that you guys are going to just have to wait to see, you know, on the court. But I thought we were going to be really good.
You know, I always go back to this. There were times I spoke with you in like February last year, or early March. You're like, we are capable of not just getting to the NCAA tournament. We are a team that we believe can win and get to a Final Four and a national championship. And you weren't just saying that, right? Because obviously you went on and accomplished that. You had such confidence in that group. This group's different, obviously. What is your confidence level like with this group specifically heading into the year?
I have a high confidence that we can achieve, you know, something similar to last year. I feel like we have the pieces to make a run. We have the pieces to go down there and, you know, compete with anybody. I feel like, you know, defensively we did lose a lot with Nate, you know, AG, Keshad, you know, Matt. I mean, this is a lot of experience. So it's going to be a different team, but different in a good way. You know, offensively, I feel like we're going to have a lot more scoring prowess there. And, you know, defensively, we're going to have to find different ways to, you know, to fill that void in. So I think we'll be really good.
How is it your fourth year? I feel like you just got here. I mean, I remember from your time as a freshman, you got hurt, had adversity as a sophomore. Everything you went through last year as a junior. I mean, it's got to have gone quick for you too, right?
Man, it went real quick.
That's crazy.
I remember coming here during COVID.
Yeah,
and then now I'm here, my senior year. But
crazy.
What a ride it's been. What a ride it's been.
It's not done yet either.
No doubt about it.
Yes,
Lamont, congratulations on all the successes. We're excited for November, opening night at Viejas against Cal State Fullerton, and thanks for doing it today.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
One of the greats. I mean, on and off the court, Lamont Butler, one of the real great players in the history of San Diego State University men's basketball.
I know, and you could just tell the confidence level of him and Darion.
Yeah,
all-time high. Looks like he put on some muscle too. I can't wait till this basketball season. It's going to be, I don't know. It's hard to top last year. The only way you do it is if you win a national championship, right?
Yeah,
but,
true. One more win.
Right. But, you know, it's still going to be fun. The anticipation, the build-up, opening night, to see how this team is, if they're better, you know, just It's going to be fun.
How come I can't put on muscle?
Because you don't work out.
Good point. Jim's back page from Vegas Resorts World. That's next. Hey guys, it's Schaefer, and we've been talking about this so much when we talk about Loan Pronto. I mean, prices on everything are going up, and if you need cash to pay off credit cards like most people or do a home improvement, Loan Pronto can help. They've got the fastest, easiest way to access the equity in your home. Loan Pronto's here for you. They've got this revolutionary Express Equity line of credit. It's so cool. It's an amazing program that gets cash out of your home in as fast as 5 days, and you leave your 3% mortgage intact. Loan Pronto can pull $100K, even $200,000 out of your record high home value. That's right, $100K or more out of your record high home value. That's money you can use to pay off those credit cards. They've got insane rates, 25% or more, those credit card rates. Or use the money to do a home improvement, maybe add solar panels. Best part, 9 out of 10 homeowners won't need an appraisal. The fact is this: rates are too high to move to a new home, but you can still use your existing equity. Call now, see how easy it is to get a lot of cash in about 5 days or less. Loan Pronto's Express Equity line of credit. Here's the number to call. You need to jot it down: 619-207-4336, or go to loanpronto.com. Again, it's 619-207-4336. That's 619-207-4336. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval. A fun time from Resorts World in Las Vegas. Jon and Jim with you. It's been a fun trip to Vegas. Fun in air quotes.
Fun.
No, it's very fun. All you can eat sushi. Same hotel room as Jim, who snores.
You snore too, dude.
I know. That's what I found out. I've known that, though. Lamont Butler, Darion Trammell, Brian Dutcher, Gloria Nevarez, Mark Zeigler. Really good conversations. We're excited for the upcoming season, which is going to kick off November 6th at Viejas Arena right here on San Diego Sports 760. How's your trip been, Jim?
It's been great. I'm freezing my
You're
ass
freezing.
off.
You didn't bring any long sleeves
We're
in the
in
air
Vegas,
conditioning. Yeah,
dude.
the air what do you mean we're in Vegas? It's November or October.
I didn't expect it to be this cold here.
We're
But
inside.
We're sitting underneath a giant AC unit. It's like just blowing cold air on us.
It's just funny because last time you guys went to Vegas, you were bitching because it was too
Oh,
hot.
it's so hot. It's so true. It's so true.
All we do is bitch.
Are we going to do back page or what?
We are going to do back page.
Okay.
By the way, I am completely enthralled by the bashing of Alana Rizzo on social media.
You really are.
From every respected
You're so
member of the media.
easily, like every day you
Squirrel.
have something.
Squirrel.
You're like, oh, did you see what they're saying about Taylor Swift? Oh, did you see what they're saying about Alana Rizzo?
I know. And I shouldn't care about Alana Rizzo because no one cares
No.
about Alana Rizzo.
But you do.
Well, I just care because she's getting destroyed, rightfully so, by the way. I mean, just what a stupid rant she. Anyway. John, do you go to Chuck E. Cheese?
As an adult or like in general? No, I don't go to
Do you
Chuck
take
E.
Jones
Cheese.
to
No,
Chuck E.
not
Cheese?
yet. I'd like to. I did as a kid. Do you go? That'd be weird.
I haven't been to Chuck E. Cheese in a long time. But if you're a Chuck E. Cheese aficionado and you're wondering where you can go to a Chuck E. Cheese, guess what? They're opening a new Chuck E. Cheese in Santee.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yep. Town Center Parkway. Chuck E. Cheese is opening up a new Chuck E. Cheese. The grand opening of that is today, 5 to 7 p.m.
So like right now.
So like literally right now.
Turn your car around.
Yeah. If
Get
you're in
to
your-
Santee. Get to Chuck E. Cheese's.
Yeah. So Chuck E. Cheese, the grand opening of a new one in Santee is today.
Coinciding with Mountain West Media Day in
I know.
Vegas. Wow.
Happening right now.
Okay.
Right now. You don't go to Chipotle because obviously you.
No, of
don't-
course I do. Absolutely I do. They have proteins that aren't meat.
Okay.
So what's your point?
What else do you get there?
Like you get a veggie burrito. You could get burrito with like they've got like a tofu type meat.
Okay. Well, if you go to Chipotle a lot, unfortunately, they're going to raise their prices.
Well, only if you go there a lot. If you do you come here a lot? I do.
No,
Prices are going up.
No, I meant like if you
I've
go
never
there all
been
the
there. Can I
time-
get it for free?
Right. Like if you go there a lot and you expect to pay this certain amount of money for something,
Right, you're paying $8.
all of a sudden now it's going to go up in
Why?
price. Inflation, bro.
Oh, makes sense.
It says that there will be a moderate price increase to offset inflation. Chipotle's chief operator. I can't even read right now.
No,
So
you
cold.
just in the sentence that
Chief
you can't read.
corporate affairs officer said in a statement yesterday.
Why is that a story? Everything is going up in price.
Well, it's Chipotle, and now a chicken burrito instead of $8.85 is going to be $10.95.
$10.95. Okay, that's
Yeah.
$8.85 to $10.95. That's like a 25% jump.
Yeah, they're
Whoa.
doing a inflation at 3.7% as of September.
More like 37%.
37%, 3%.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, Chipotle, you're going to start seeing some price increases there. And finally,
Great.
Hold on. Finally, 5 spooky cocktails in San Diego.
Okay.
Your phone, your computer went out.
It
It doesn't
whatever.
matter.
Yeah.
Who cares? 5 spooky cocktails in San Diego to resurrect your spirits this Halloween season, John.
Mm-hmm.
You want to hear these 5 spooky cocktails?
Oh yeah, I do. I do.
You can get the bartender's choice at the Haunted Head Saloon.
Okay.
You could get the Tiki at Inside Out. That's a good restaurant. I've been there.
Very
been there
good.
before. You can go to the Ismoto's Ghost at Polite Provisions.
Oh, I've been to Polite Provisions. That place is awesome.
I know.
Yeah. I'm
You
trying
can-
to. I don't know. Who cares?
You can get the Live Laugh Lobotomy at Cutwater Spirits Tasting Room.
Okay.
That's hilarious, by the way.
And fire in the cemetery at what is it? How do you say this? OCULTO?
I don't know.
Ocludo
or something?
477.
Okay.
So those are some spooky drinks at certain bars and restaurants around town.
Oh, I hate to end the show like that, man. Is our time up here? Man, there was so much good stuff there on Jim's back page. We'll have to get to more tomorrow when we get back to San Diego. Jim wants to punch me.
I'm done.
Okay, if you joined us, you literally just threw your headphones down.
Who cares?
If you missed anything today, sportssd.com, iHeartRadio app, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Spotify. Check us out on YouTube. Search for Jon and Jim 760. Follow us on social media at Jon and Jim, JONANDJIM. If you missed anything from Mountain West Media Day, make sure to check it out. We're back in San Diego tomorrow. We'll join you at 3 p.m. For Brent and Jim, I'm Jon. So long for Mountain West Media Day from Resorts World in Las Vegas. Keep it here at San Diego Sports 760.
Alana Rizzo sucks.
Okay.